to Legends Behind the Lines. Roll the cameras, cue the scene. Nothing's ever what it seems. Every monster, every myth, there's a deeper truth beneath. Hollywood has told the tale, but did they really never fail? We're pulling back the silver screen to find out what it really means. Hit rewind, roll it back. It's time to separate the fact from fiction. Behind the lens, we're breaking down the greatest legends. Behind the lens, where every mystery gets questioned. Movie magic, ancient stories, truth and fiction, fame and glory. Join the adventure, take a chance. Welcome to Legends Behind the Lens. Legends Behind the Lens. Digging through the myths each day. Jaxson Reigns joins the ride. Searching for the truth inside. Searching for the truth inside. From forgotten folklore's past to movie monsters built to last. Ghosts and dragons, gods and kings. So what's the truth behind these things? Grab some popcorn, turn it loud. We're diving deeper, starting now. Behind the lens, where movie myths come back to life. Behind the lens, we're cutting through the hype tonight. Every legend, every scene, not everything is what it seems. Come along, take a chance. Welcome to Legends Behind the Lens. Who got it right? Who got it wrong? We've been waiting all along. Ancient myths, Hollywood dreams. Nothing's ever what it seems. Behind the lens, we're chasing every hidden secret. Behind the lens, every answer makes us seek it. Part of the Emerald Realms network, where imagination always works. Join the collective, come be friends. Welcome to Behind the Lens. The cameras may stop rolling, but the legends never do. See you behind the lens.
That shit was fire, brother. What you think?
Yeah, that shit was fire.
That's
Sure, man.
that's a fact. That's a fact. All right, well, welcome back, my brother, to Jackson, the infamous. This is episode 3, brother. We bringing back the American Gods. You ready for that?
Oh yeah, I'm ready for this
We
season one
about to-
breakdown.
That's a fact. That was actually an interesting season, to be honest with you. I actually read the books. The books was, like usual, way better than the show, but the show was actually rather close, though. I ain't gonna hold you.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, I was a little impressed. It was the idea in general is what impressed me, because as far as religion go, I never thought of it in that aspect. For all I know, it could be accurate. It could be right, or it could be more right than what they spew into us now.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Did you like the show?
Yeah, I liked it.
There. Let's start
Yeah,
there.
I thought
Who
it
was
was
your favorite character?
Odin.
That's a fact. Not only did they get a great actor to play him, they actually They actually he actually did an excellent job. Excellent job. We got Scarlett in the chat. What up, Red? She's giving some love.
What's
But
up,
I would
Scarlett?
probably say my favorite, probably I'm gonna have to lean towards Shadow Moon. Did you go ahead? Did you like go forward, or did you just stop at season one and waited it up?
No, I'm good. I'm done with it.
All right. Did you happen to follow the books?
Yeah,
Okay, so then not to, no spoilers, but so you understand who Shadow was though.
I know who he was and who he is.
That's what I'm saying. That
Yeah.
when I was reading the books, because the show never really got to get to that level, because the show got deaded before it got to that level, I believe. But reading the books, I was astonished because at no point in time I thought they was gonna go that route with it. Did you have an idea, or did they surprise you as well?
No, it didn't surprise me, and we'll talk about it during this breakdown of it kind of shows a little bit of what he actually or who he actually is in these episodes.
Scarlett says she liked the show. The show was really good, Scarlett. I was about to say if you didn't catch it, you should, because the show was actually spectacular. The actors was great. The actually is funny because Shadow Moon got his start on the 100. I don't know if you followed that show, but he was actually really good in that, and that's what got him the part in this show. Little
Yeah,
little
correct.
little tidbit, you know what I'm saying? But let's dive right in. First off, let me ask you this question, brother. The whole American God theme, the whole fact that they saying gods become weaker when people stop believing in them. Is that something that you would have heard in any of the, mythologies or any religions? That's something have you heard?
Yes, but it's a slightly different, but it's only an adaptation for American gods. These deities, they pretty much are beings that manifest when sustained by human attention. So that's pretty much why, like, they end up being forgotten about or disappearing or turning into shadows or being forgotten about in general because they lose their life force instead of just like it's not like prayer in a sense. I believe it's called egregores is what these deities are.
But
So
so if this is accurate, so it's possible that, a god that was worshipped and was considered all powerful back in the day is now working at McDonald's with no power whatsoever? Or would they have just totally like disappeared type of thing?
well, in the real ancient myths, no, it wasn't like that. It's just for the American gods and the author's version of his adaptation of these gods. Because, like, for example, let's just say the ancient Greek, the Romans, and the Norse and the Egyptian mythologies, they were never created by human faith. They were immortal, eternal forces of nature who existed way before humanity can ever exist. So they're pretty much like, but you know how people made the sacrifices for them, right? You had rituals to appease the gods. You had all kinds of sacrifices, but it wasn't a power supply. It was more like a for of their like a win of their favor, an insurance policy of to avoid their wrath. That's another
But the power came from our belief at that time though.
no. The feeding on the belief trope is basically the idea that gods can literally drain your energy from a prayer or ancient roots. Something to that nature, and it really isn't a thing in the dominant theology of the ancient world, only kind of like maybe ancient Near Eastern texts, possibly. So
Ah,
highly, very, very unlikely.
okay. Now, this show brought in, I actually thought this was kind of interesting. I want to get your take on it. It brought in something that they considered new gods. For example, technology was one of the new gods. What's
Mhm.
your take on that? Do you think that's a possibility that our belief can create these new gods? Because I know there's people out there that worship technology. Got to get the newest iPhone, got to get the newest laptop, got to get everything on top of the newest Roomba robot vac. Everything got to be techno. So there's people out there that do that. People out there that worship their cars. Oh man, this is my baby.
Absolutely.
So do you think that would be able to call like a situation like that could come into play? The belief of these people worshiping this technology, this advancement in technology, bringing in
Only,
another deity into life type of thing.
only in this world,
So
only in the
real
world
life,
of this
no
American God.
deity came from belief.
In
It
real
all was
mythology,
immortal.
no,
Okay.
nobody came from belief in real mythology. There were always these all these beings that they spoke of, whether their name is Thor, Balder, whether their name is Enki, Enlil, Christ. It doesn't. These are pretty much beings and archetypes, and they all were seen. They all were witnessed at one point by someone to be to be spoken about and written about.
Okay. So let's talk about Odin, or how the show depicts him as Mr. Wednesday. In the mythology, he sacrificed an eye for wisdom. So how do you think the show hints that he's still obsessed with knowledge and manipulation? Because clearly he has both his eyes in the show. You don't see him missing an eye, even though that would have been interesting if he had, a squint or something.
Uh, I don't. Is that accurate though?
Well, that from the mythology, allegedly,
No, I'm
that's
saying from the show. Do they not show him with it? Because I thought in his true form you seen him without the eye.
that's the only time. Remember
Okay.
when he was talking to Shadow and he was like, "Say my name," and he started going and spinning in circles, and the smoke rose up, and you kind of seen a hint of a different image. That image didn't have an eye. Yes.
Okay. So the other one he's just using is just glamour. It's kind of like a glamour thing because he
Well, the way
definitely
he
doesn't have his
explained
eye.
it, like the way they explained it was like we were just talking, that the belief in him is so weak, his power so little, this is the form he's stuck in now, type of thing. Even though he still has a little taste of his power, and that's when he flexed and showed, but it's only a taste. It's not to the level it was at one point. That's why in the show, if you notice, when we came across some of these gods that were kind of, I don't know how you would even consider them, like Ostera. Ostera still had her power, even though her religion, her belief system was kind of blended into Christianity, I guess you could say. But
Yeah.
the show still clearly showed her with power, more power than some of the other guys. That's why Odin was so intent on having her down with them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
We'll talk about her in a bit
all right, fair
when we
enough.
get to her part. Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So what does Shadow Moon represent mythologically? Is he a simple human, or does he resemble the archetype reluctant hero found across the world myths? Which we see, we spoke about that with the Perseus, the Perseus, the Odysseus, all these archetypal heroes.
Shadow Moon, as crazy as it may sound, represents an a solar eclipse. And the reason is because he's supposed to be the sun god, but they have him as the moon. So you have like a shadow eclipse. The moon is going to cover the sun, kind of thing. So represents that, but he's supposed to be a sun god.
Okay, okay. So it's like a play off his name. Shadow Moon is on. Yeah, okay, I can see that.
Yeah, in the depiction of the show, of course.
Yeah, 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 yeah. But I can still see that, the play on words like that. Um. Oh, this is actually another great character, Belquis. First off, Belquis is in the Bible, I believe, right? I believe she's the way they when I did my research, they said she was the King Solomon, a lady king,
She was the one who killed Solomon.
but I know she was involved with him in some way or whatever the case was.
Yeah,
But
I think she.
I didn't
But
realize, like, I don't think her name was Belquis in that situation. She went by a different name. Belquis, I guess, is her godly name. Now, my question would be this: if she's the person that was involved with Solomon, King Solomon, so that means she was a human at one point, no?
yeah,
So then they're saying, kind of like Greek mythology, humans can achieve godhood at some point or in some way.
Well, they're like a demigod in the case of Shadow Moon. You know what I'm talking about? That's a
Or,
perfect example.
or Hercules.
Or Hercules, but he would be the a demigod, basically their version of the demigod.
Okay, I can see that. Now, the way they depicted her, the way she was absorbing, I guess would be the proper way to say it, her sacrifices. Is that something that in true mythology fertility deities used to do, or there was rumored they used to do?
Not necessarily. See, the thing with her is she is like an, a modern. How can I explain this? An example of religions over time. Like adapting and reforming and changing, kind of thing. She changes in this adaptation of the show. She changes throughout time.
Now, let me ask you
And
this though. She's a fertility goddess. Clearly, the show depicted her very sexual.
mhm.
Sex is something big today. So wouldn't you assume she would be super powerful?
Yeah, she's because she's basically like she's super powerful, but she's like the legendary Queen of Sheba, and
Yes,
her
Queen Sheba. That's who her name was. Yes.
okay, and her thing was her devotion was like it was a survival thing. Like she had to. Well, actually, you know what? Yeah, she had to. That was the whole reason for the whole having sex and stuff like that. It was for her partners. All her partners and will be absorbed into her private parts, and that's how she absorbed their life, their essence, and life force, and that's how she be pretty much remained young, beautiful, and powerful.
And they looked it very happy to do so too. You didn't see all their faces, men, woman. She was with whatever. She didn't care, but she absorbed their ass once they started talking that shit.
Yeah, that's
She made
exactly what
she
she
made
did. She
sure to
stripped them
lead them.
away.
Yeah, she like led them into that conversation. Do you believe in me? You worship me? You know what I'm saying? They was like, yes, yeah, yeah, and boom. Now you see their ass floating in space, looking all bugged out and weird and shit.
Absolutely, but that's only in the modern society. That's not in the past. They didn't do it that way.
Well, if you noticed in the past, they kind of did it that way. You remember the scene when she was having an orgy, and then the next time you seen her, she was the only one in the room. She absorbed everybody in that orgy basically.
Yeah, that was the transaction of energy. So
And
in
she,
that case, in that case, it's like a fertility rite, and it's considered a divine favor. So like the human climax it was pretty much viewed as a flash of divine creative energy. So in that situation that she was doing is not considered taboo to the gods and gods.
okay, okay. So it was going good. It was okay for them to do that.
Yeah, it
Well,
was it was it was it was actually a thing. That's how they actually physically harvest everything for the creative, for all types of energy, aging, fading, all kind to make sure stuff doesn't go like non-existence.
now
That's
here's
how
my question: is that what was going on with Zeus? Because Zeus was clapping everything.
Zeus was a I don't want to say it like that. Let me not say it like that. Zeus was just an asshole, bro. He didn't. Zeus is nothing like this. See this adaptation of like American Gods and the author. He said in his adaptation, you can have people pray and think about you, and not like in the real mythologies that we read these days. It's different because they can gain power through that for remembrance and faith and stuff like that. And then her, for example, Bilquis, the more she does it, the more powerful and young she stays when she absorbs everything with through her, parts.
That was fascinating. I kind of rewound that scene a few times. I was like, no, wait, no, she did not just wait. She does not just suck that dude up, and he was okay the whole time. I'd have bugged out. Once my feet went inside, I would have been like, yo, wait. This does not feel right anymore. This does not feel right anymore.
And if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that when it comes to this, the author of the book and the whole show adaptation, I want to say she's part Jin.
Ah, well, the show definitely was into the whole gin thing because you remember the cab driver was the gin too.
Yeah. So
So
you
they
got the
definitely
you got the
followed the.
hoof, the donkey hooves, and the hairy legs are like a giveaway.
Now let me ask you this, because the gin always threw me off. When I think gin, I think genie. But the show gave us a very different depiction because there was no wishes made. He just granted that man a whole new life type shit.
Yeah, that was so that's the adaptation of an Islamic jinn.
So they're good
They're
or
not
they're
they're
evil.
not the same. They're still demons and spirits and shit like that, but it's like it's more demonized, I guess you can say, than it is like your, I guess, Aladdin type of genie for reference. Like it's not the same. Like they're just an adaptation of like the fallen angels and demons and stuff like that too.
And I think he was a famous jinn, right? Wasn't it like his name was like Ifrit or something like that? That's why when he took off the glasses, he had the flames in his eyes.
If it was a jinn,
Right, that was a big demon. Actually, he's actually in a couple of the Final Fantasies too. I think, right?
absolutely, he actually is a summon, and he's in all of them. Him and Shiva, I think, are one of the main ones that are in all Final Fantasies. I think from seven and going on is
Yeah,
Ifrit.
that's why I thought I heard that name, and they saying that was him. That's why he when he remember when the guy turned around, he pulled down his glasses, and all you saw was the flames. I was like, oh, but he didn't seem like a demon or nothing like that. He cracked homie back, and then he kind of just left. There was no evilness. Matter of fact, he changed that dude whole life. He went from a cab driver to a ultimate rich dude. Is that something that Jin were known to do? I heard they were like tricksters and played around
Yeah,
with people, but they would just, you know what, I'm gonna change this dude life, see what he do with it. Shit like that.
yeah, that's pretty much what they were. You can say they were kind of like tricksters. They would mess around with people, supernatural, like they can temptress. They would do seductive stuff.
Cause that dude was in love. Whatever they did, that dude was in love, man. He was like, fuck this being rich. And he was chasing the dude down. He was wilding.
Yeah, he definitely adds a little more spice to his characters. Like for
Yeah,
example,
definitely.
if I don't if you're familiar, so the Queen of Sheba, she had a temple called Awam, and well, it's more of a sanctuary, and it's in Yemen.
Okay.
Okay, so the moon god, it was for the chief deity had recovered a site to prove the temple was actually dedicated to Alamak, the national moon god and the patron deity of the Syrian kingdom at that time. So American gods pretty much depicts her as a fertility goddess who ruled the temple, as is opposed to in South Arabia, and I want to say it was like 1000 BCE maybe until the fourth century, give or take a little bit. They had another ancient temple on an Arabian peninsula, pretty much like hers. So that was a depiction of the whole oasis thing in the show, when they show like she has like a temple and then it's by an oasis and then her
Yeah,
throne is
yeah.
there.
Was that like Egypt or
That's the
something like that? I felt like it was like a Egypt or Egypt type of country, the way the whole, the sand, the beautifulness, you know what I'm saying? The money. Clearly she had money back then.
I don't want to say, I don't think it was Egyptian. All I know is that it was transformed into a desert temple. So it had
Mm.
like the oasis and the adjacent kind of like temple.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it differs from the Awam. but it's very similar to it, and that they actually got that adaptation from real life in the one in Yemen. Yemen.
Ah, okay. Okay, so they was trying to keep it real even though they was changing some shit.
Yeah, they actually were pretty good with some of the stuff, especially Odin. They were on point with him.
So the show crosses through different religions, different mythologies. So how do you think the show's depiction of death compares with Norse ideas, excuse me, of Valhalla versus Christianity's heaven and hell?
Yeah, that's okay. So Valhalla is only a place where Odin lets you go, right? So, oh, it was a place for warriors where warriors died allegedly, and they will be sent to Valhalla. But that was just Odin's and the Asgardians that it pertained to. The real Helheim, which was hell, was basically run by Hela, which is Odin Loki's daughter. So it'd be Odin's granddaughter. So she runs hell.
Wow, that I didn't know. I know Loki had but didn't he have like a wolf son or something like that? I didn't know Hela was his daughter.
Fenrir. Fenrir is the wolf son, and he's the one that bit Tyr's hand off.
Yes, yes.
And then he has Hel, and don't forget the world serpent Jormungandr's his son.
Really?
Yeah, amongst
That's
many
the
others
that's the one that's gonna kill Thor supposedly at the end days,
in
right? Or
Ragnarok. Yep.
Ragnarok. Yeah.
Yes, sir. That's the one.
Even though they gave us a Ragnarok, Marvel gave us a Ragnarok, and Thor ass still alive. So I don't know what happened, and we didn't see the fucking world snake.
No, we didn't see that. We probably won't see the world snake.
Even
Not
though
in
didn't
Marvel.
they give us they gave us that Ifrit type of demon. I don't think that was his name though. The one that they forced to fight Hela, and he destroyed all of
Mephisto?
no, it
Wasn't
wasn't
it?
Mephisto. Remember, it was a giant one. It was the giant dude that he ripped off the horn in the beginning, and the horns is what gave him his power. Damn it,
Oh, I
what was the
don't
dude name? And he was supposedly the demon that's supposed to destroy. What is it called where they live at? Why can't I remember what the hell is the name of where Odin and them live?
Asgard.
Asgard, and he's supposed to destroy all of Asgard.
Not Heimdall. You talking about Heimdall?
No, no, it's not Heimdall. It was a big demon. It was a fire demon. Remember, he had the sword, and the last scene in that movie was Hela, and then the demon grew and was stabbing with the sword, and she wasn't a punk though. Thor and them
Oh,
niggas was leaving, and they was like, "Yo, she gonna die," and all you see is an explosion. We don't really know what happened, but all you saw was an explosion. She ain't run though. She went and tried to fight.
not too sure. I don't remember too much about that.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
if you haven't seen the movie, you should see. It's a decent little movie. It's the movie that happens allegedly right before uh Endgame and all that.
so that's not the one where Hela fucking breaks Mjolnir, the
Yes,
hammer. That's the one.
yes, that's the beginning of that. And she
Okay.
rips out Thor's eye. Yes, that's
Yeah.
the beginning of that movie. But at the very end of that movie, the way they stop Hela, because we don't know if she's dead or not, is
Yeah.
they Thor beats the demon. And the demon, I guess he kind of like puts a curse, and he's like, Asgard would fall the day my crown reaches the flame of Asgard or some bullshit like that. So when Thor was getting his ass beat, Thor flipped flipped the fucking crown into the flame and like summoned the dude. And
Man,
and the dude start
I can't
and it
remember his name. I know who you're talking about now.
and it's funny because if you remember, the
He was a
funny part
fire
was
giant.
the first 5 minutes was Incredible Hulk was throwing beans, and Thor's like, "Stop fighting him!" But it's a big monster. Stop fighting him. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? But it was like an Ifrit type of monster is what I was getting at though.
Yeah, I think it was a fire giant. Um, um, that was in God of War, one of the God of Wars and stuff. The
Is
Norse
there
God of
any
War.
mythology that involves that? Some kind of fire demon destroying Asgard or destroying them?
No, not that I could recall. Everything that anything that's out there that he's worried about is just Ragnarok. Like Odin only cares for and been worried about Ragnarok for like ever.
And that's why Valhalla's there, though, right? Because that's where they waiting for Ragnarok. They waiting for that last battle or whatever.
Well, Valhalla is where everybody goes when they die. When all the warriors die, all their souls, they go
That's
to a
the
different
Valkyries.
Odin.
The Valkyries take them there, no?
Yeah, they take them to Valhalla. Yeah, the Valkyries take them there. But that's the so when it comes so like we kind of sidetracked a little bit
Facts.
when so the afterlife, right? So like I was saying, Odin's he had his hall like that was Valhalla. Now in American Gods, he has an obsession to resurrect the entire system. So he needs people to die violently at that, so their souls can feed his power. So that's what happens to Odin in American Gods when they die and go to Valhalla, right? Helheim is the one I was telling you about that hell runs, and that's pretty much a gray tone. You got looks like it's mirrors everywhere, underbellies of America and shit like that. And that's
is
where
she
the
is she
forgotten
banished?
gods,
Is
huh?
she banished there? Or she
She
can come and go as she please? Because I know the Marvel depicted it as Odin banished her there. That's why when he died in Marvel, she was able to come back.
she you could yeah it's kind of like that, but she's basically your Hades. She's the Hades of Norse mythology.
Ah, so she kind of lost a bet type shit.
Yeah, she's down there and she runs it. That's it, basically. Yeah, and it was supposedly a punishment, like you said, but
So
she's like
she's
in
the
charge
devil,
of it.
basically. She's a
Yeah,
female devil, basically.
yep, pretty much. She runs the whole place down there.
So spinning it back to the original question, so it is very similar to Christianity because there's a devil, there's a hell. Odin
Well,
would be like God, I guess.
well, the thing is, see, the traditional theology of Christianity is destination is basically based on faith or sin, right? So that's going to result in either eternal salvation, which is considered heaven, or eternal punishment, which is considered hell.
Hmm.
So the show is just totally rejects the whole monotheism of it, like aspect of it. It just doesn't apply there. So the Christianity dominates the American landscape, kind of like it like kind of sidelines it. So like let's take Jesus for example in the series. He has multiple forms, like you got a white one, you got a Mexican, etc. But the Christian heaven and hell are treated as one of many options in like a fragmented spiritual market. And the Christian view of death is more individual than it is. Well, no, let me say it like this: it's more individual morality and judgments, and the Norse view is basically a tribal duty of sacrifice kind of thing, like a cosmic cause utility. So Odin doesn't care if the soul's good or bad. He only wants to weaponize it. So in
Hmm.
Christianity, God doesn't, do that. What we would like to think. The true creator of all does not do that.
Well, we hope he don't.
Right. So that's kind of like the difference. And then the whole scale different. Well, it is different because you don't have like the Christian style. You don't you go to like a specific realm. That's what they believe, and then if they believe in nothing, they kind of like just walk into a dark void. And then the ultimate judgments it depicts differently among like in Christianity. We talked about that, but like let's say Egyptian, for example, they have a thing that you do before you cross over. Like every religion, every mythology has something to do before you cross over. So Anubis, for example, he's going to portray the weighing of the heart.
Oh,
Like
which
in
they showed.
okay, they showed there is one. I don't know if you've seen Marvel's Moon Knight, but
Yes.
Khonshu does it there. So that's also a thing that is done. And depending if it's heavy with guilt or light as a feather, you will be basically be sentenced to repeating purgatory.
Well, they showed it twice, if you remember in the show. They showed it once with that lady. Remember, she was bugging out. She's like, "Ah, get out of here! If you coming to rob me, is we broke. The black family's on the third floor, or whatever." He was like, "No."
Yeah, yeah, I remember.
Remember,
Now that you say that, yeah, I
he
remember
was
that
like,
part.
"Nah, miss." And then when she turned around, she saw her body, and then she's like, "But I don't even worship you." He was like, "But your family did." You know what I'm saying? Your family held the belief, so that. And then when he went to reach for her heart, she smacked his hand. He was like, "What you doing?" And he grabbed the heart and put it on the. Even though you would think that no, it's a heart. How would a heart in general, even if you're the nicest person in the world, how would a heart be not heavier than a feather?
It's a metaphor.
That so it's a
It's a metaphor and symbolism of how much weight your heart carries for what's all the stuff that you've done. So if your heart is heavy, is you've done bad shit, you have a heavy heart, you're repeating, and if you haven't did anything bad or have no regrets or remorse and all that extra, good stuff, etc.,
now. What about
you'll
the
move on.
people that? What about people that do bad shit, my brother, and still have no remorse? Because I know a couple like that.
Well, there's a lot of people that don't have remorse. Remorse has nothing to do with.
So would their heart still be heavier than that feather? Even though they have no remorse for nothing bad they did, they think they was chilling through the whole time.
In that aspect, remorse may not be a thing for them. Maybe it has to be regrets. Regrets, something they wish they didn't do, something they wish they could have changed. Maybe something about their past with their mommy issues, daddy issues. It'll be something like that.
So they would just go, the God would go deeper into it. It
Yeah,
wouldn't
we'll
just
go
be
deeper into it and figure out. Yeah, it's way deeper when it goes into with the weighing of the heart. I'll just give you an example. But yeah, for example, if you got like Dexter up there, and he's being a serial killer and a psychopath at the same time who doesn't feel anything at all, or his heart doesn't beat fast and
exactly,
all that shit.
exactly. That's what I was trying to get at. Somebody like that. That's a good fucking point. That's exactly what I meant.
And
Somebody that his sickness doesn't allow him to. You know what I'm saying? So because of that, sitting down at that point, nothing he did in life is bad because he doesn't understand what bad is to him, basically.
right, so death at that particular point, while Anubis while he's weighing the feather is going to give him all kinds of different thoughts in his head. So he's going to give him the thoughts of Dexter being a baby, seeing the blood, seeing his mom dead, all the shit that he did when he was a little kid, and that's going to make him snap inside. And that's when the shit's going to weigh heavy, and he's going right back to fucking purgatory.
Okay. What's the other one? I know Anubis is the dog one. What's the one that looks like the crane? Because
The
there was
hippo?
no
Oh,
the one the crane. He's another one that deals with death in Egyptian. Because he was in American Gods. They worked together. It was Anubis and why can't I remember what the guy with the crane? They were the two black dudes.
I'm lost. I thought those were his.
Ibis? Ibis?
Oh no, no, you're talking. Okay, never mind. You're talking about ibis and jackal. Never mind. Yeah. So you're basically talking about Thoth. That's the Egyptian god Thoth and Anubis. That's
That I didn't know. So that was a depiction of Thoth.
yeah. So the television series just basically introduces them as two truths. I want to say like so they combine the two kind of thing and add in both of them
Okay,
because
so that's
that's
not
all
how it
going.
was in mythology.
No, no, those had nothing to do with the weighting of the scale in Egyptian mythology. He was the god of the wisdom and knowledge, and he wrote everything down and had the emerald tablets of Thoth and all that stuff. So he would be the equivalent to the son of Enki in Sumerian mythology. Thoth is the son of Enki,
Mm.
Nigashina,
So you'd be like Jesus.
pretty much. And then Marduk is his other son because he has two sons. Enki has two sons. Marduk
Kind
and
of like Odin.
mm-hmm. Get it? Now we're talking. Now we're cooking.
Everything is connecting, baby. Well, I've always
Exactly.
said that. I've always
Yes,
said that. I
sir.
think no religion has it right because I think you need all religions.
You
Like
need to read
that's
all of them to get all of them to get the whole big picture. Absolutely.
and
Otherwise, you're gonna.
and and the way I connect it biblically, not saying I'm right. This is just me throwing shit in the wind, but the
Right.
Tower of Babel,
Mm-hmm.
if they had it right back then and they was acting stupid and God made all of them change their language, change everything. So the pieces of the religions that they built from that would just be pieces of the you know what I'm saying, of the main religion. So to get the whole, you would need to understand all of those religions and find a common ground. Because I bet you, if you sat there, well, like yourself, because you're very knowledgeable about mythologies and religions. If you sit there, again, this is just my opinion, but if you sit there and you look through all the religions and you master and understand all the religions, I guarantee there's a connection point between all religions. And I'm talking
Hmm.
about going back to the mythology stuff and all that. There's because a lot of it is too similar to not be connected in somehow. Even back to like
Absolutely.
Hercules, Samson, you got damn, what was the main one that the Sumerians had? 'Cause they even had a
Gilgamesh.
Gilgamesh. All that is too similar to not be the same thing or not be parts of the same story. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And that's exactly what it is. Like, for example, uh, Mary, the mother of Jesus, would be considered Ishtar, Isis, Minerva in Roman mythology, Inanna in Sumerian mythology. Um, she can. There's a couple more. What is she's? Freya in Norse mythology and Greek mythology. She's Hera. She would be like Hera, a combination of Hera and Athena,
Okay, because of the wisdom
because she was
portion.
because the wisdom, fertility, but also the queen, and she also would be your Lilith character.
Okay, so let me ask you this, because you're very knowledgeable about the Sumerians and the Anunnaki. With the Anunnaki, is there a story, you know, depicting them like a Tower of Babel story for them?
Absolutely,
See what I'm saying?
there's a couple. There's a couple of stories that actually happened, and so that Tower of Babel story, when it comes to that, happened a couple of times. So the first time they the workers were working too loud, and then Lil was pissed off. So and Lil is Enki's half brother. So Enki was the son of Anu, who had a regular common mother. Now, and Lil, even though he was younger, he was a double seed of Anu and a princess of Nibiru. So he was considered the double seed, and that's why he was able to be king or the next in line to be king of Nibiru. Enki was given Earth, which was known as Ki at the time. So he fashioned workers in order to mine gold for them. These workers were obnoxious and loud, and Lil feared that they were going to be better than them, overthrow them, be smarter at one day, and didn't want them around them. So they called the first. He caused the first flood and the first reset, wiped them out clean, made another new had Enki make a whole new genetic species and had them start working as well. Then, as time passed by through other resets, Marduk, the son of Enki, who didn't get along with Thoth and hated Enlil, started a war to take over everything. And they were going to build a spaceship center. And that tower was meant to be for his spaceship.
Ah, and the whole war thing, he kind of sounds like Satan.
So there are these characters called Ijiji in and they're lowercase gods. They call them lowercase god Anunnaki. So think of it as the same race and beings of the planet people on planet Nibiru, but not royalty. So
So
like a
a
king can
lower
tell you what
class,
to do, a queen, lower class type people, right? But they're still strong and powerful. So you had one named Azazel, and then you had one named Alalu. Those two were, one was an exiled king of Nibiru who challenged Anu and lost. And even though he lost, Anu, he thought Anu was gonna, sentence him to death or he and punish him. So he ended up stealing a ship and trying to head back towards where Ki was, which was that's what Earth was known to them. And this was after it collided, Tiamat collided with Planet X, which is Nibiru.
which is
Now,
also there is no Planet X no more.
Planet X is the same thing. They call it Planet X, but it's still Planet Nibiru. It's the same. It's a planet that comes within like 365,000 years or something
Yes.
like
So,
that around our
but
orbit.
I didn't realize because I've heard the story about Tiamat. That's the asteroid belt right now. That's what's left of it.
That's what's
But
left of it. So there was a
I
planet
didn't
in the middle of Earth.
realize. Yeah, yeah, but I didn't realize. So you're saying Nibiru is the planet that hit it. So
Correct.
did that fuck up Nibiru?
So Nibiru's planet is fine. And it was damaged, but nothing to the severity because it was so much bigger than Tiamat. But
Ah,
their problem is that they had a nuclear war up there that Marduk was a part of and had to handle that caused nuclear radiation, and they needed to mine gold to turn it into gold dust to spread into the atmosphere
to fix the
to
ozone
fix the
type of thing,
ozone type of shit in the fabric of the existence in space or whatever the case may be.
which
So
is
that was the
funny. Not to cut you off, but it's funny if you think about it. This is stuff, people, that if y'all not realizing, this is stuff that's in Sumerian text, thousands of years old. And this is stuff that just recently we're starting to realize, oh shit, that would fix an ozone. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't think none of this stuff could be possible, how do these people, these people that's basically hunter-gatherer type of people, getting this information, this knowledge? You know what I'm saying? How? Stuff that we just recently figured out like would work. Like, oh shit, that would work. That shit bugs me out.
like I said, brother. There ain't nothing new out there. It's just new to us.
Facts. But when they put it out, they, oh wow. It's like that don't even make no sense. They was doing this shit like, oh, communities. We didn't start communities, and then you get go Beble Teke or whatever the hell this shit is called.
Yeah,
Now
the
they
first
now they
civilization.
yeah,
Like,
now they
yeah,
sitting there like, oh, we don't know what the fuck happened here. But y'all said that this shouldn't have happened for another 2,000, 3,000 years. What's this? We don't know.
propaganda.
You know what I'm saying? They're like, we don't know. We don't know what the fuck this is. So how much we don't know is actually, you know what I'm saying, them guessing and is not nowhere near accurate.
Everything. They don't want us to know everything that's going on with the truth. That's why they change all that stuff.
Now, is it now okay? So now that's another good question. Is it that they don't want us to know, or is it that they really don't know? Are they that ignorant and they really think that they're finding this shit out and they're like, yeah, I invented that. You invented that. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck?
I'll tell you why. You want to know the truth?
Yeah, I'm listening, brother.
Because it's a form of manipulation and segregation to segregate people and divide everybody, whether it's racism, religion, or whatever the case may be. Because these 1% people, or the deep state, or whatever you want to call the people that run this world, know the time is coming and they can't do anything without it. And it's only a matter of time before the place that they created to home because they got exiled is going to be taken away from them.
Mm,
So they have no choice but to deal with what they got to do. Take whatever money you guys got to take whatever you got to do what you got to do because it's over for you guys, and they know it.
I figured my thought process was they looking at all these past civilizations. Let's call it that. Giving
Hmm.
you an example, the Greeks, the Romans, the Persian. These are all people that damn near ruled the world. Mongolian, you know what I'm saying? These are people that damn near ruled the world. And
Yeah,
something always
Canadians, all
happened.
type of people. Yeah,
This is what I'm saying. And what happens? Something always happened and their civilizations is gone. So I'm thinking they're taking this now because now we have a lot more, again, technology. So we got a lot more stuff to know, to like information wise. So because of
yeah.
that, I think they're putting plays in process to try to stop shit from happening that they see happen then. Like, how the fuck did Rome fall? Oh shit. You know what? Let's make sure that don't happen. You know what I'm saying? How the fuck did Greek fall? Oh shit. You know what? Let's do something to make sure that don't. You know what I'm saying? So they putting shit in place for possibilities, and all that shit is doing is locking themselves into this position. You know what I'm saying? That they locked in.
Well, remember how we were talking about the last time about a family curse,
Yeah,
generational curse?
generational. Yep.
Let's just say that we're part of that generational curse, my brother.
How so? Or how do you think so?
I think we're the fallen angels. I think we are the children of
Humanity
the
in
fallen
general.
angels.
So you think
Humanity in
humanity
general.
is the
Human,
Nephilim, so to speak?
humanity in general, yes, are a form of the Nephilim, whether they're being genetically spliced with their and our DNA or the demigods themselves having children, that's where we came from. So I think,
Now, where's our power then? Because
mm,
clearly we would have power.
oh, we do. We have power. We just have to let it out. And the thing is, the only reason why, see, this generational curse that I speak of has been a family quarrel between princes and kings of a fucking place that doesn't exist. I mean, that is exists, but nowhere close to us. And we are put here to mine gold. And our evolution was basically to snap out of this fucking bullshit that we were in and become our own people. But we're stuck here in this matrix because of a certain deity that wants to be higher than the most high. And the only way that person can do it is here. We have the ability to astral project, open up our third eye, be spiritual, be up in there and do energy blasts and fly and seeing what the world up there really looks like. But true free will is whether you open your third eye or you don't.
Mm. Well,
Because you
we've always heard stories and stuff like that, and I'm not talking about mythology. I'm talking about recent stuff. Even on YouTube, you can search weird shit, and you see some shit. You be like, "How the fuck
Mhm.
is that?" People who has opened their third eye, and they
Yeah,
and if that's the case, why ain't everybody opening their third eye?
I'm going to give you an example of why someone who I know doesn't want to do it in their beliefs because some people believe that is not of Christ, that is not of Christianity, and that is of Satan or the devil or whatever they want to call it, because most people don't know that it's a title. The devil and Satan just means adversary. It's a title. The Lord Saturn of Eden, that's all it was, a title. People think it's an actual person or deities or a deity, and it's not. And that's where I think people lose themselves in translations because it's not the translation you're losing it. You're just not understanding what you're reading.
Well, that's another thing. We're translating this text from
Mhm.
this stuff from dead languages thousands of years old. For all we know, the people who's translating it don't got it right.
Yeah, that was the case at one time,
And they
but
missing parts. You can't find the Bible and its books in one place, and then, a block away from that place, you find Enoch and other different articles and scriptures dated to the same time, and be like, nah, that has nothing to do with it. That don't even make no sense to me, at least.
no, it doesn't. And I'll tell you, the Book of Enoch. I'm going to give you an example of. So it was found buried not too far from like a cave or something like that, and the material that it was written on couldn't have possibly existed back then. So they used to write on papyrus, right?
Yes.
And then back in the day, they wrote in stone. So you
Way
have
back, yeah.
so you have the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Book of Enoch allegedly written on this material in a time they didn't have it or didn't write that stuff in that time. It doesn't make sense.
Like
Even if it
fuck
was
you.
buried, that's what carbon dating and all that other stuff comes in. It doesn't match. But people have a lot of people have banned several other books besides the Book of Enoch because there's, the Book of Mary Magdalene is banned, the Apocalypse of Adam is banned, the Book of
I didn't
Judas is
even
banned.
know she had a book.
There's a bunch of them. There's a total of 86 books, I believe, that's supposed to be in the Bible, but there's only 73.
Well,
That-
I heard the only true, allegedly, the only true Bible is the Ethiopian Bible, and it has like
Correct.
90 something books or something like that, or 80
It
something
has,
books.
yes, that's 100% correct. It has every single scripture in there, even the ones that they pulled out, like the Book of Enoch and the Gospels of Mary Magdalene and all those other ones. Everything is in there, plus calendar, the right calendar that we're supposed to be. Because a lot of people don't know that we're missing a month. We're supposed to have 13 months of 28 days, and
Mm.
they took out the month of Soul, which is the sun, and then they pretty much added different days to different months and stuff like that.
That's
That's
the
another.
Gregorian, right? The Gregorian
Yep.
calendar.
And that's how they changed that to match that calendar. And then Caesar changed that one for taxes, and then you had the Mayans, and yeah, it just goes on and on. But that's not the true calendar. That's why they keep it. And I don't know if anybody in the chat who's watching, and if you notice, if you really look around the world, nobody's around the same time.
Well, we
It's
got all
it's
type of
crazy.
time zones now.
Yeah, but not 20 years apart.
Well, you know what's funny? I saw a video on YouTube, and the dude was basically throwing that they changed more than just a month or so. That they changed almost like 1,000 years. Like they basically effectively erased 1,000 years of history.
I think they did that before they did the Gregorian calendar, though.
Well, that's why they switched to the Gregorian, to hide the fact that
Yeah.
they erased 1,000 years. If that's accurate, what the fuck happened in that 1,000 years that you want to erase it?
I would want to say a reign of one of the Sumerian kings that they wanted to erase, and probably the one known as Lucifer, the real true Lucifer that was a fucking actual, Sumerian actual king, not a fucking deity.
Well, there's the tablet, so he's on the tablet.
Yeah,
Because I
he's
know
on the
they have
tablet.
that tablet. Is he one of the people on the tablet with way more years than you would think should be possible?
Yeah,
Because I know that somebody that was like discussing the tablet, he got real in depth. He was like, I'm just trying to figure out how these first, 5 names reign for thousands of years. And then these next 3 names reign for, hundreds of years. And then we get the regular years. I don't get that. You know what I'm saying? He's like, I don't get that shit.
well, it saw a process of just the whole within that time of all the resets and the genetic manipulation to change man from thousands of years to only living to 120.
Well, that's another thing I wanted to, I've actually asked priests, and I get a whole bunch of different bullshit, and I call it bullshit because it don't make no sense. But the Bible, in the beginning, these people was living long-lived lives. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about one of the dudes was like 800, 700,000 years old. These are
Yeah,
600, 500,
900.
400, 900. And not even just 500 and decrepit. These people are 500 and having kids still.
Yeah, there were. Yeah, Abraham was one of them. Methuselah was another one. There was a bunch of them that were
This
up
is
there.
what I'm saying. So I've actually asked the priest, and I'm like, what happened to that? Where is that at? How's that part? And the
They can't
answers you
answer
get,
that.
yeah, the answers you get, like, one priest was like, well, I actually think, and this is him telling me what he think it is. He said, I think time was different then. I'm like, what?
Them
He's like, yeah,
motherfuckers don't know what they do.
like if years was shorter or something like that. He was trying to say. Like if he was trying to say our equivalency of life, 80 years old, 100 years old would have been the equivalency of 900 back then type. I gave this man the most stupidest look, and I was like, yeah, that don't make no sense to me.
Because you don't know what it's talking. You don't know what he was talking about, man. They don't know shit. I'll tell you one thing, and this is 100% before Poster Boy released the UFO files, and everybody was tweaking about, oh my God, are we going to have disclosure and all that good stuff? That's exactly what he did and why he did it. and they were up there warning people and telling everybody. And so, okay, at least here, I know they did it here and a couple of other spots that they went to congregations and they went to go speak with different preachers and to warn them and tell them that we're going to release this stuff to the public and you need to get your congregations and together and explain everything that's going on because aliens exist. Why would you tell government people to tell all your people in your state and your congregations in church to get ready to warn your people if they don't fucking know what's going on? You know what I mean?
Well, supposedly they got proof that the Catholic Church, the Vatican itself got proof of all that. But God, woo, they're not gonna let that out.
No, they're not going to talk about the stuff that's in there. You're going to just see the stuff that they're going to allow us to see. And
Even
so,
when they release stuff, I feel like that. I forgot what it was that they were talking about, and they was like, "Oh, they released." And as they showing the pictures of these files, half the shit is all redacted. So they release shit, and half the pages of what they released is all black tape. You know what I'm saying? Like, wait, so what are they really release? I was like, what are you showing me? You still hiding shit. You know what I'm saying? You hiding shit. What are you hiding?
yeah,
The deals you made? The fact that half y'all niggas is actually the aliens? What are you hiding there? What's the black part?
there's ways around that too.
Really? You can read redacted?
No, you just have to click it and move it over and then open it up in another browser. You can read the stuff that's blacked out.
Interesting.
I have ways of looking at stuff like that if I want to.
We might have to discuss that later, brother. Off air, off air.
Yep, yep.
All right, let's go back to this though. We was on a tangent for a minute. Let's break down Odin, Mr. Wednesday. First of all, how accurate is Mr. Wednesday compared to the Odin in myths like the Poetic Edda?
Very accurate. I
Really?
think it's really close. Yeah. I'm talking about at least, man, I wouldn't want to say 90, 95, maybe close to 95%.
Ooh, so Ian, what's his name? Ian McKellen or whatever. That man hit it on the mark.
Yeah, he did in the show too. The way he wrote them, even when he did his little changes here and there, they weren't that significant.
Was Odin about smacking cheeks too? Because Mr. Wednesday used to love to smack, as you seen that, and he nice with it. He had all the young chicks open.
Yeah, Odin is like exact adaptation of what he is. Manipulator. I don't want to call him a trickster, like a con man another good way of putting it.
So let me ask you this: why would people worship this man? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, Mr. Wednesday don't seem like a good dude. And
He
they even said it in the show. His wife, yo, that man is not your friend type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that dude is not a good dude. The
no, he's
leprechaun said it. The leprechaun worked for this dude, and the leprechaun was like, "Yeah, nah, like nah, you don't fuck with that man. That nah." So if this is Odin, if this is and you saying is 95% accurate, why was this man being worshipped
because
at
he
all? At all?
orchestrate so everything that he was doing was orchestrating it. So for example, you know how he made that deal with that dude in the bar. I think it was the bar scene, or when they were sitting down, even though he didn't like it. Marilyn Manson's character. You know how he sits with them, and then like even though he didn't want to, he was using him to preach so that everybody would worship him.
Yes, 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 yes.
See what I'm saying? So basically, that's how it works in this world. So he does it with other people. He'll manipulate other people to make them worship him to keep them, afloat.
So he don't disappear, so to speak. Because let's be honest,
Right.
they gave us a lot of gods, but I feel like there was a lot of gods that just wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? Like at
Yeah,
all.
they missed. Yeah, they did Thor poorly, I think, and some of the ones that weren't even there. I mean,
That's what I'm
well,
saying.
I don't want to spoil anything, but I don't mind
Well, if you think about it,
Mr. World.
the guy who they gave us that was like Thor actually wasn't Thor. Remember, he was the dude. He was a Russian deity of some sort. I can't remember his name. Chernobog or something like that.
Oh, no, you're talking about no. He was no. I'm not. But Thor was in there. He
Uh,
kicked Thor. He kicked Thor out. He was the one with the short hair. They fought in the middle in the at night in the street.
oh, that's right. I forgot about him. Yes, yes, you're right.
The actual Thor, his son.
Yes, you're
The other
right.
one, the other one you're talking about is like, oh, my hammer needs blood. Yeah, that's Shervin and whatever his name is. That's a totally different one. Yeah.
Yeah, when you said Thor, that's what popped in my head because he kept, talking about his hammer. That dude.
Oh yeah, that was and then of course Norse's god of war, Tyr.
Yes, Tyr.
'Cause
Tyr.
he was
Which
he
is
was
funny when you say Tyr, and I forgot the couple of other guys you said before, but these are all guys that D&D done robbed the fuck up because these are all guys that what I'm saying that you hear about in D&D.
Oh yeah, that's all basically like I like to say all the cosmic lore, like from shows, everything that has to do with Stranger Things, all the movies and adaptations, that's all the same like narrative. I would like to say it's all about the same things in their own little different way or a twist. They might change some stuff, add different things, but it's all basically the same.
Excuse me. All right, fair enough. So Odin was known, like you said, for lying, disguises, and manipulation. Is
Hmm.
Wednesday acting exactly like the myth described?
Yes, he does. He does everything to the T that he's been doing in the show. The whole manipulating everybody to worship him and using people as tools. And honestly, I think I want to say it's like a 95% adaptation of.
Nice. What about the other gods? If you giving him his Odin 95%, is everybody else killing it? What about homie that's playing Anaxe, the spider god? I like how he changed his accent because he don't really talk like that.
Yeah, he was okay. I didn't mind him. Um, I could dig kind of to
Shiva,
a certain extent Moon, Shadow Moon, Shiva. Yeah, I didn't mind. I didn't mind her. She was pretty good.
they made him,
Uh,
what was it? She was like a maid or something like that, right? Or a diner host or something like that. She was
I
some
want
weird
like a
shit.
host, like a hostess or something. I don't know
And
if
then,
she was a wait. I don't want to say waitress.
yeah, because I remember he made a joke. He was like, "Yo, what's up with the waitress? What's up with this chick?" And he was like, "Open your eye." So he said some dumb shit. When he looked again, you saw the resonance of, what I'm saying, of the true form type shit. He was like, "Oh shit," like, "Oh shit." Which, shouldn't she still be powerful? Isn't her religion still running strong?
Yeah, she should be pretty good too. As long as they keep worshiping her in some way, they're not going to lose faith. Like, or if she forget about it, she'll still be strong.
Because I know
But
Supernatural gave her some power. Supernatural, because her religion is still, there's a billion, Indians out there that still, even if they're not openly worshiping her, they still fear her. They still, you know what I'm saying? They still have some belief that she's out there on a rampage type shit. So let's move on. Odin is associated with ravens, Huggin and Munnin, if I got it right. What symbolisms do Bird play throughout season one?
so, hugging the two. So yeah, the two ravens. Uh, they're hugging and munning. So hugging stands for thought, and munning stands for memory. So they're pretty much the two that fly around and give Odin his information and stuff like that. But in this book, in the show they're depicted differently because they do like a lot of different things that they don't do in mythology.
I feel like in the book they was almost like his spies.
Yeah, that's basically what they are.
You know what I'm saying? Like he would know shit, but I don't feel like he would know shit like how Christianity, God is depicted omnipresent, omnipotent. He knows shit because them birds is fucking everywhere somehow. And they always get
Yep.
back to him before you do, type shit. You know what I'm saying? So by the time you walk in, he just looking at you like, yeah, had to do it, didn't you? You know what I'm saying? Like, how you know? Then you look at the bird just sitting on the throne, like, you bastard.
Yeah. So he doesn't. So the thing with these two crows that they're, I want to say, like you said, spies and lookouts, and I guess messengers, you can say, in the novel anyway. But I want to say that they're were they fed with fallen warriors in the no, they're not. Never mind. Okay, so they're not. So I believe one adaptation is that these birds would feed off the fallen warriors. But I think now in this one in the modern America, they're depicted as scavengers of roadkill when it comes
Damn.
to the birds, the two crows. That's
Well, that makes
their
sense.
diet.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. They fucking birds. You know what I'm saying? I can see them doing that. They carnivore, so what you gonna do? Got hit. I'm gonna rip this meat up. It's already splattered everywhere.
Yeah, and then when the this is funny too. And when he you notice when the bird lands on Shadow and aggressively croaks,
Facts.
he's basically telling him "fuck you" and crow.
I can believe that. I can believe that.
Yeah,
And you know, it's funny. Shadow, the look on his face is like he knew that. Like this motherfucker.
yeah. And then Wednesday will just just brush it off like nothing ever, like nothing.
So why is Odin willing to just sacrifice anyone for his goals? I know you said it's true to Norse mythology. So why was that his thing? Just fuck it. I want. I don't care. You know. So there was no love. There was nobody he cared for.
Nope.
Damn. So not
He
even
didn't care.
Thor and all that, because I know Marvel depicts. Oh, I love my father with the Thor shit, but I guess that's
Yeah,
not.
Marvel's like way, way, way off when it comes to the depiction of Thor. They changed him like a lot.
Well, they made him look like a fucking surfer. If you telling me Thor looked like how he looked in God of War, he was a fat bastard, fat
Yeah, he
and
was
sloppy.
yep, fat, redhead beard, red hair. No, he had no braids. He was big, a drunk because they depicted him as a big drunk.
Yep,
That's
yep,
definitely true. Blue eyes and a dumb brute. Basically, he had no
yep,
brains.
strength of 1,000 men, but dumb as a fucking board. That you, if you was smart enough to outwit him, all that other shit didn't matter. Type shit.
Yep.
So in mythology, Odin prepares constantly for Ragnarok. And this shows you think he's making this new war with the new gods his Ragnarok.
Yeah. This is like a modern day Ragnarok. You can say.
Now, did Ragnarok not happen already? This is why he's all broke and fucked up and powerless. Is that because Ragnarok happened?
I don't think in this depiction of his of American gods that it has it. I think this is their depiction of him preparing and starting Ragnarok because Ragnarok officially starts because of Boulder. Get it? You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So
Mm-hmm.
this is kind of like the start of it. Like it's all going to start and end up going to Ragnarok. So I don't think it's happened yet.
Now, okay, so let's talk
And
about
this
Boulder. What's Boulder's divinity? What kind of god is he?
Boulder is the known as the sun god.
Okay, what?
He's a sun god. He's like Christ and Amen Ra and um all the other sun gods that some of
I
them
don't
been.
know why I thought it was like a rebirth thing. Because doesn't he always get reborn type shit?
Well, Boulder can't die.
That's
He's
what I'm
like he
saying. It's like he always comes back to life type thing.
not necessarily. He just can't die until he dies. He's like think of him as like Achilles, and Achilles without an Achilles heel. but he doesn't. His Achilles heel is not getting shot with an arrow in the ankle. It's a mistletoe arrow that has to be enchanted like magic, so he can't basically die. So he's more. So he's like basically the sun god, the god of light, purity, and joy, and that's like and all the like the gods and humanity. The light literally emanates from him, and that's like the golden god. That's what's considered the golden god. That's pretty much Balder.
So
And
is he
then
above Odin?
he's not above Odin because he is a demigod. He is part human. Balder is part human, part god. I giggle and chuckle a little bit like that because it reminds me of Jesucristo, but never mind. But basically, yeah, he basically is a half human demigod, half god. Odin's his father. His mother's a regular common woman, and she pretty much he gave birth to Balder, and Balder's like your Christ consciousness character of Norse mythology.
Again, like we said earlier, it all seems to be connected. It all sounds real. It's like I always say, okay, like dragons. What's your thought on dragons? Real or not real?
Real, 100%
Exactly.
real.
Exactly. And when people be, oh, that's a story, that's a myth. My response to that is, how the fuck is there so many different countries, different people, different races that have this same myth of these same type of creatures, even though the creatures might look different in one way or another, but the gist of the creature is the same through these different type of races and people and countries. There's
Right.
no way. It's impossible. That's like a fish. If there's a depiction of a fish in North America, there's a depiction of a fish in China. You know what I'm saying? Something in the you can't tell me that there's not that it didn't exist at some point, or maybe still do for some. I don't know, but I'm just saying that I think that was a real creature at one point. Possibly unicorns. I don't know how accurate that was because unicorns were good, like all the stories like to depict them, and they were real. I don't think they would have been washed away in the flood. I think they would have been on the yacht, on Noah's yacht. No,
Probably not.
really,
They're
even if they was good, you wouldn't think they would have been on the yacht.
Well,
Or are you telling me unicorn was not good?
Odin will be considered Enlil, and he was trying to drown all the demigods. So and Enki was the one who was prepared everybody or tried to prepare people for the flood because some of them were his children. So yeah, I don't think so.
So you think a unicorn? So a unicorn is a type of demigod?
No, I don't think it's a type of demigod. But what I was trying to answer your question is the whole reason why like Ragnarok happens and the end of the world and all the resets is all and Lil's doing, which is all the thunder gods like Zeus and Odin and Jupiter and like they're the main cause of all the resets and shit. Enki's the one that whether you want to call him Jesus, Nagashina, Enki, Osiris, whatever, he wanted humanity to thrive because he created us type of deal. So Odin is just going to try to do damage and try to hurt fucking people. He's not going to try to help people. You know what I mean? So Enki would be the good guy. Odin would be the bad guy in every reset. So all the demigod, the whole reason why they flooded the first time was to kill all the demigods and the
So
Nephilim.
in Norse mythology, as it stands,
Mhm.
who's Odin's nemesis then? Who's his other half? If Odin is the shady one, who was the good one at that point?
Okay, so when in Norse mythology,
Or was they all
Odin.
shady? Or was they all
Well,
screwed?
they were all shady, but there was three brothers. Odin had three brothers, and them three brothers that came down here, he was basically your Anu, right? So they took the king of Nibiru and Zeus, right, and combined them into one, making Norse mythology did and making Odin, right. So Odin's like the all powerful god. He's the king of Asgard, the king and all that stuff. But there's the other two would be your depiction of Enlil and Enki, right? So that's going to be your Thor and Loki when it comes to the children. Now his brothers that when they came down here, they if I'm not mistaken, slayed a giant and made Midgard out of that giant's body, and that's what Midgard is known as Earth to the Asgardians and to over there in Norse mythology. That's Midgard. So he ended up slaying them, and he becoming the All Father. While the two brothers did what Enki and Lil did in the Sumerian pantheon.
Okay. So let's go back to Bilquis. So you mentioned that she's basically a depiction or inspired by the Queen of Sheba. So
Yeah.
how much of that story or her story comes from history versus legend itself? Because
So
we mentioned she was a person at least because she
yeah,
had some type of interaction with Solomon.
yeah, she did. She did. So I guess we can say the legends adaptation of it. She was more of a monarch. So the Quran, the Hebrew Bible, and Ethiopian history. I want to say it was like Makeda. She was known as the Queen of Sheba, a very powerful, fabulously wealthy ruler. But she used to visit Solomon on a regular basis with caravans of gold, jewels, and spices, to test his wisdom while when they were on good terms. Now, Jewish folklore and Islamic folklore, she's not just a human. She's more of a so her mother was a jinn, and she was just like I want to you could say that her father was like a super like a titan of a supernatural nature, like Gaia or Uranus or one of those type of gods. And she would have hairy legs and donkey hooves. But American Gods connection, they view her more of a human queen, and they blend the South Arabian fertility and love goddesses like Ishtar and Astarte, and they were basically worshipped through sacred rituals. So that's how they kind of like differ them in the show compared to the actual legends of
Okay,
history.
fair enough. So does mythology portray worship the same way the show does? Because clearly the show portrays it as a type of nourishment for the gods, almost as a type of, you know, basically food, like you said earlier, a type of way
Hmm.
to gain their power or keep their power or whatever little bit of power they actually have. Vic just joined the chat. What up, Vic?
What's up, Vic? So can you repeat that again? I'm sorry.
I was like,
Repeat
the worship is
the
that,
worship.
yeah, the way that the book and the show depicts it is as a type of nourishment, a way that they, I guess, keep their power, or a way that they still have a little bit of power, or maybe even a way to keep their immortality.
Right.
Is that something that actually myths mention, that, you know, this is how they gained it? Because if that's accurate and this is how they gained their power and kept their power, you would have think that they would be a hell of a lot nicer to the people who were sacrificing and doing this stuff.
So in the show, they're considered like starving, right? Because basically their powers are closed because the worship is not strong. Now that kind of parallels ancient Mesopotamia a little bit, like in the Epic of Atrahasis. The gods created humans to do labor and grow food for sacrifices. And when the flood, pretty much wiped out humanity, the gods ended up growing weak and hungry because there was no one burning meat for them. So it's not necessarily It's more symbolism than anything, but they didn't end up fading out of existence or die of forgetting. It was just more like symbolism when it comes to that. Now, when it comes to the Greek and North and the Egyptians myths, they ruled with raw power and cosmic status. Like they didn't care pretty much. They worshipped out of the humans worshipped out of fear, respect, and duty. So they were just begging for attention, kind of like thing. Like the gods were just playing with them, toying with them, getting stuff from them, using them as tools. They don't care, they don't care about if they worship them or not. It's
Okay.
not going to make them fade out. It's not going to have them forget. It's not going to make them die like the show depicts it. Just like praying, and like in the show, you can pray and it'll make the god stronger. You can even have somebody just a word of mouth and keep preaching this and worship this, and Odin will get stronger, like if you wanted to. But that's only when it comes to the show. It wasn't like that in the real mythos.
Okay. So the way they depict Bilquis or the Queen of Sheba, is she a villain? Is she a victim? Or just simply surviving? And it is what it is.
Surviving.
Yeah, I
It's
took it.
pretty much she's definitely surviving, and she's evolving as she survives too, because she's like reforming, and it's kind of like symbolism of her fertility, kind of like character and archetype, how it keeps on evolving throughout the times and
But
changes from here and there.
notice that the new gods wanted a piece of her too. The new guys mentioned that,
Hmm.
they was like, yo, nah, you different. And I think that's because of the way the sex thing. That's what I was saying. Sex is such a big thing now. I figured she would transition into a new, you know what I'm saying, a new version, a new form of her power type thing.
Yes, that's because that's the way she absorbs her powers. She absorbs her energy that way. So you know how you know how we were talking about, like you can pray and worship and from afar. Well, you can actually she can suck your energy from her. You know what?
Yeah,
Like
that's
actually take your life force and energy and from multiple people.
talk about the
Well, once,
vacuum grip.
yeah, literally, and that's pretty much how they adapted it in the show and stuff like that. Which is I get it, but that's what makes her character kind of like unique to a certain way. And I don't think it does it happen in this one. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't want to talk about it till I'm positively sure, because I'm pretty sure she gets offered by Mr. World, I think,
Which
at
is
some point.
hilarious. What is that possible to be a deity? Wouldn't that be Gaia?
Mr. World? I
It's
don't
the
even know
world.
if I should. I don't know if I should answer that question, man.
I'm just curious, like, what's your thought? Because when I heard Mr. World, I was like, but we already had a god of the world. At least I thought that was Gaia was supposed to be the god of the world.
Well, she's mostly, yeah, she's basically the world itself. Gaia's like this Titan, of Earth, like Earth Titan.
So how would that's what I'm saying? So if Gaia
The
is
show.
real, the is
Uh-huh.
the world itself. Do you think there could be another god of the world on top of her?
Yeah, there could be other gods of worlds. She's not the only world. The Titans, you had like Uranus.
Yeah,
Uranus
but
was one
they're
of
on
them.
Earth. He's saying I'm the god of world. I'm the world.
Well, I don't think I don't trust what he's saying either, man.
Yeah, that's a
Like
fact. He was a grimy, but but so is
you,
Odin. Who's like,
I don't even know if I should say who he is if you don't know who he is.
so you think Mr. World is somebody also?
Mr. World is Loki.
Ah, that's who you think it is?
Yeah, it's Loki, bro. He's Loki. That's just because he's a trickster and can form and shit like that. So he just became the god of technology. He's just still a trickster god.
So let me
And
ask,
don't
okay, let me ask you this. If Mr. World is Loki, do you know who else was Loki?
well, like literally Loki or a trickster.
Literally Loki.
I may not know.
So based off the books, again, the show never got this far, but based off
Uh huh.
the books actually stated, because you find out at the end when everything comes to a head, so to speak. In the very beginning, when he was in jail for the 10 years, 5 years, whatever it was, because if you remember, they robbed the
Mm.
casino, him and his wife, and he took the fire for all of it. You know what I'm saying? So his wife didn't do a bid. So it was like 5 years, 10 years, whatever it was. The whole time he was in jail, the dude, his cellmate, was Loki. They ended up being best friends. They ha ha he the whole time, 10 years, held each other down, looked out for each other the whole time. That shit was Loki.
Oh, okay.
Pushing towards the, you know what I'm saying, the quest or the path that led everything the way it was. Oh,
So
you out of here? You leaving tomorrow,
he was
Shadow?
a
Yeah,
little
I'm leaving.
manipulated. Yep.
Yeah, it's all part of the thing. It's like, you leaving tomorrow, Shadow? Yeah, what you gonna do? We get on a plane and I'm gonna head back this. Oh, you gonna have what plane? You know, type shit. You know what I'm saying? And then what happened? He's on a plane. He looked to his left, Mr. Wednesday. You know what I'm saying? Like, wait, how the fuck? Because, from the beginning, it was all a plot. Do you think Odin would have worked with Loki to do some shit?
I shit. Honestly, I don't know, man, because in the show, the way the
No, I'm
show's
talking about
doing it,
mythology.
oh yeah, they would. In mythology, they would have worked together to do some shit. Like, but in mythology, they were like, he was a trickster too. They used to go back
Uh,
and forth with each other. Like him and Odin used to go back and forth. So he was the ultimate trickster as well. That's why I say I don't like to call him a trickster because Loki's the trickster god, but he's definitely a trickster. Like they have competitions and do all kinds of shit with each other. Like
really?
yeah, when it
That
comes to
I
just being a trickster, let alone. So yeah, they definitely would. He used them as tools. He would use anybody. It didn't make a difference if it was his kids, if it could have been Thor, it could have been it could have been Hela. He could ask Freya. Freya was his wife, and he didn't give a shit. He's just gonna use everybody for his own cause. He's a nicer version of Zeus.
damn nicer version.
Yeah, believe it or not, yeah, because and that's it. I mean, it's a kind of a fucking understatement considering what we're talking about. But yeah, he's actually nicer when it comes to that. He didn't really do too much like Zeus would do. And plus he was more magic than anything, and always wanted to learn wisdom and stuff like that. Zeus was just more wanted raw power.
Mm, mm. Let me ask you this: the way Marvel depicted Zeus,
Terrible. You
ah,
didn't have to finish the question. Terrible. Terrible.
that's hilarious. All right, so Belquist, how do you think she compares to Ishtar, Aphrodite, and the other love and fertility goddesses? If there was a Royal Rumble, would she hold her weight?
I don't know. When it comes to like worshiping, especially in this place, the way they do it here, she might have a problem. She might have to continue using her secret weapon for energy because like Ishtar is like the whole reason of like Easter, for example. It's like a fertility. It's a fertility.
Oh, so it's another version of Ostera, because the show gave us Ostera for Easter
Yeah,
and everything.
yeah. You know how? So yeah, that's basically what it is. But that actually came from Ishtar. It was never like about rabbits and like the pagans changed it. I want to say to something like finding eggs or whatever, because that was their way of changing it. But it still meant fertility. That's why you're going for eggs instead of man. What did they do back in the day? I can't remember what they did back in the It wasn't
Um,
eggs though. It wasn't eggs. It was something else. It was perpetuity, and they
which is
called it.
which is Brew got a good question. She said, "What did you guys think about how they made the gods the version for America? Because in the world they were versions of them where they came from." Does mythology mention something like that? That makes a good point, because the way the show depicted it, Mr. Wednesday, that
Mhm.
version of Odin was the
Uh-huh.
version that was brought and left here. from the people that was here and believed it. But back wherever the Norse came from, Scotland or wherever the fuck they was from originally, there was still that Odin, the Odin who they originally worshiped, almost of like if it was just a piece of the actual entity itself.
Okay.
So is that something that mythology possibly mentioned, or this is another liberty that the show is taking with the actual myths?
No, that's a liberty that the show's taking. There's a merit. See, I don't want to spoil the show because we're still talking about the first season or anything like that. But I just mentioned Loki, so let's take Loki for example. If Loki is Mr. World and the god of the world, but it's Loki. You know who Loki is. Mostly anybody in North mythology knows who Loki is. So what's really going on here? It's the old gods taking on new titles. It's all it is.
Well, they showed us that with Belquist, that they was kind of offering her, a different title or whatever the case you wanna.
So they're flipping basically. So basically, Ragnarok in this adaptation is going to be the same kind of, except Loki's going to be Mr. World and probably have Hel and his kids fight Thor and shit like that, or something different. Like that's what I think the authors has changed when it comes to the
But
real
wouldn't
mythos.
wouldn't they know it's Loki?
I don't know if they know it's Loki.
That's what I'm saying. Wouldn't they?
They-
They keep
I don't
telling
think
us that there's a way that gods see, that gods are. I'm assuming now that you mentioned it, it's kind of like an opening of your third eye, like we spoke
right.
about it earlier. Remember the Shiva? How when you looked at her, how we would look at her, she would be, a old maid, diner lady, or whatever, waitress, whatever she was at that point.
Hmm.
But when he told him, "Nah, man, look again, look deeper," and when Shadow looked at her again, he saw the actual like blurry image of her true form type of thing.
Yeah, because he was kind of like accessing a little bit of sight when he was focusing of his half blood.
Exactly. Is which at that point he didn't understand what that was.
Understand,
But
right? Yeah.
so because of that, wouldn't they have known that was Loki?
I don't.
That I'm assuming that true form thing can't be changed. You can change the vessel, what you looking at.
Right.
I'm a trickster god. I can shape shift into whatever the fuck I want. But when you looking at me through those, you know what I'm saying? Through that look, I would
I
assume
honestly.
because
What?
give Odin. Anytime Odin came to one of the gods, he's not from this pantheon. He's not, excuse me, not this, their pantheon. Yet
Right.
he walked in and knew what form each of them. Hey, what up? Oh, Ananse, yeah, because he was you know what I'm saying? He was looking at them with his eyes, not with a human's eyes. So he's looking at them, but he's not seeing a slim black dude looking like a pimp. He's not seeing the maid. He's seeing what they really are.
Yeah, the true form.
You know what I'm saying? So because of that, we've seen him in the show have communication with Mr. World. Basically, throwing out there that we gonna go to war then type shit. So wouldn't he have known that was Loki?
You would think. You honestly would think, especially if, but I don't know if. I think either way, I don't think it would matter. I think the show is making him his brother, not his son.
Mm.
I could be entirely wrong, but I think the show is making them. I think they're brothers.
Well, you know
So
what? It could be possible due to the fact that the show is very loosely based on mythology. You basically proved that already. So they taken liberties already. So why not give it a
change
little
it.
bit more of of a Roman Greek type of Hades. You know what I'm saying? You know what? The sun thing, you know what? Let's have
The
them on equal
combination, yeah.
terms.
Well, that's the thing about the whole American God aspect. There is no really American God. All the American gods are, and any other god in any pantheon are just gods that converted over, or people
Well,
converted over.
what they were saying, what she was saying, is basically like, if okay, they gave us that scene with the Jesuses.
Mhm.
Remember,
Yeah,
they walked into the house looking for Ostera,
yeah.
and they was like, "Oh, you know, this is not your holiday. This is God's. This is Jesus Christianity." And shoot, Jesus. You mean the dude out? And when they all looked outside on the beach, there was like 40 Jesuses,
Yep.
all Jesus, all with that same power of that Jesus was said to have. But yet there was a black one, a Spanish one, a
A
Jamaican
white
one
one.
with dreads, a white one. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
all down the line. And
And that's because everybody's depiction of Jesus is different.
but that's what I'm saying. But so if that's possible, who's to say
Well,
that it wouldn't be possible for there to be an Odin in America and an Odin in Scotland or wherever the fuck the Norse came from?
there is. He's called Thoth. That's Odin and Hermes, basically.
So Odin is Hermes.
Odin is third. Odin is in real life, like mythology. If you read everything, Odin is Hermes. Odin is Zeus. They're all the same person.
So
Like
then, if that's the case, which we mentioned that at least I said that was my thinking, everything is connected. Who would Odin be in biblical
in the biblical, so
or Abrahamic religions, type of thing? Because so far you named a couple different religions that.
he would be Enlil. So he would be Yahweh. So anything that so in Christianity, he would be known as the one who caused the flood.
So he would be God himself.
Allegedly, people think that God himself, Yahweh's the God himself, and he's the one that caused the flood. And then, whatever, I don't know who they believe came to Noah to tell him what was going on. But yeah,
Allegedly, the story says it was an angel. I don't know if it was Michael, Raphael, or one of the thousands or millions of angels, but there was an angel that was sent by Yahweh, by God.
okay. So if you go back to the Atrahasis, you have Enki telling Methuselah, I mean, not Methuselah, so Noah is the same person as, damn, I can't remember his name right now. It's not Methuselah. It's in the Epic of Gilgamesh and the Atrahasis. So he was he was a son. So he's the son, and Enki came to him to tell him that Enlil was going to flood the planet, like flood the world and stuff like that, to get everything together that he can, and put and build the ark and all that stuff. So that was a original story that Enki did because he was his son, and he didn't want him to die. So Noah's Ark would be the story of that adaptation, which means Yahweh or the person who caused the flood would be Enlil in biblically. So I guess you can call him God. And then the angel or whoever came to Noah to let him know about what was going on would have been Enki. You
Mm,
see what I'm saying? And that's when it comes to like that's where the Bible, like the Bible, when you read scripture, it's confusing to some people because it's like especially if you go to Genesis and it's like in the beginning, it tells you that the God had created man and like you got 6 days and the void was out shape and yada yada yada. We got to create men in our image and stuff like that. And the thing is, these beings are talking about creating. This is the Sumerian work from the original scripture of the creating the humans to mine gold for them and to be basically work for them. So when they're saying that they want to create them in our image, it's Enki and Lil and Thoth and Inanna, which is basically Ishtar or Isis, and they're basically constructed a petri dish, basically, and they took the genetics of one and put it in Inanna's body, and she took the baby to term to create the first Adapa, which is the first man, and that's your Adam and Eve story. And
Mm.
when that person was created, they ended up making another woman named Tiamat. They named her after the planet that was destroyed, and she was known as your Eve. But Tiamat and Adapa, they were how do you say, their whole story of not mating and like all that other stuff that came in, and that's how Lilith comes in, because Lilith basically was the goddess of fertility, and she ended up having to go to hell. She dying to talk to her sister Ereshkigal and try to get the body of her husband, but she had to die to go to the material world, and Enki had to go get her and resurrect her. And when she was resurrected to be pretty much the first vampire, the first zombie, or whatever succubus is known to
Mm.
them, and he gave her like an opal ring, and that ring that she would wear would allow her to walk around in the daytime, so she was not neither dead nor alive, and that's when she became Lilith.
So she was like Blade. That's where the demon story type of thing came in. Because that's how what I've heard with Lilith. She's some type of demon.
Yeah, that's the original. That's the original story of the travel to hell. So you know how in the Christian the Bible, Jesus dies and goes to hell to go free everybody, and then he comes back in 3 days. But while he was down there in those 3 days, that's what he was doing. That's the same thing as it mirrors the whole uh, Inanna story when she goes down there, because they crucify her as well while she's
Mm.
down there. So all that stuff goes back to everything, ties everything together. And like, okay, this is another thing that I don't want to get too much heat for. In the Ethiopian Bible, so you will read that Gabriel was the one who came down and inseminated Mary.
Wow.
But if you read the scripture in the Christian or Catholic Bible, it was an immaculate conception.
Yes.
But if you read other scripture, it's not. And that's the actual Mary. Like not the missing pieces of the books that we speak of tells you that's what happened to her. But they take it out, making it seem like it was something else that happened, but it wasn't. She wasn't abducted or taken or nothing like that. Gabriel, the angel Gabriel, which was not his name Gabriel, came down here and inseminated her. And that person who inseminated her was one of the fallen angels.
Mm. Make it Jesus Nephilim.
Jesus is definitely Anunnaki. It's not even a Nephilim, I don't think, because Mary's not who you think she is.
Mm.
Mary is always has been Athena, Minerva, Ishtar, Isis, and Inanna. She's the fertility god. So remember how all these beings have lived thousands and thousands of years? So think about Inanna going from Sumerian, and then after that pantheon, she goes to Akkadian. And then in Akkadian, she's called Isis, no, Ishtar, right? And then after Akkadian and Syrian and all those other ones, we'll skip those, and then we'll go to like Buddhism. You go to Buddhism, she's like Shiva. All the fertility gods, like Minerva's in Roman. Athena would be considered a fertility god also in Greek mythology, like I said before. Isis would be the one for Egyptian, and Mary would be your archetype for the biblical scripture. And these beings can take how do you say, different vessels whenever they want to. So a change of the name and a change of the location That's all you need for these beings to
Oh
move
shit, if you
around.
could change how you look and all that, why even bother? You step outside like you moving and come back the same day with the same shit in a different form. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, pretty much. That's what those all those sarcophaguses and all those other things that they found under the pyramids with that pink like material ooze or goo. That was the stuff that they were using to preserve their body when they would jump into another one, or they would leave their body there and go to Nibiru and come back and grab that body that they wanted to go in and just have them ready and another one ready too, like they were clones. They never took their actual real form down here. They couldn't. But those are your biblical angels and demons.
That's crazy. Makes sense though. We did say everything was connected in some fashion or another.
Yep, they are. Everything is all connected. It's all based on the same beings and people. And once the system breaks down completely and everybody understands that, then it's over for those guys. It's only a matter of time. They speak of 1,000 year peace. Like everything that has been written is going to happen, has been happening, and the people who have paid attention can realize that it's basically going to happen. Now, people have misjudged. There are several people that I know and heard that, for example, believed the rapture was something that it wasn't, and sold all their property, all their stuff, and they're homeless now with nothing.
Yeah, a lot of people thought it was going to happen in 2000, 2022, 2020 with the COVID. They thought it was going to happen.
Yeah, but that's all your common cycles for everything. You'll notice you're always going to get a pandemic, and after a pandemic, you're going to get a fucking war. It happened with the Spanish flu in World War II. It happened in World War One. It's a 100 year cycle. It's just going to keep on doing it. It's repetition. That's the only thing they know how to do. They change it up a little bit because it's modern times, but it's the same thing: money making propaganda.
We see that shit in life though. If you think about it,
Well, yeah,
with
that's what life
movies and
is.
everything, they don't know how to do shit no more.
Nope, absolutely not. But yeah, like I said, that biblical stuff, what they say, that 1,000 year peace is just supposed to be, yeah, a one world government where everybody knows the truth and we can all unite and get along and realize we come from the same fucking place. We come from the same people, and we've been segregated by a bunch of people and a bunch of entities or whatever you want to call them. And we're foolish to be doing what we did when we can be united and start a revolution. I don't mean it like, like
Let's go into my boy Mad Sweeney.
Mad Sweeney.
Yeah. How clearly does Mad Sweeney resemble Irish folklore about leprechauns? Because I ain't gonna hold you. Anything I've ever thought about a leprechaun was not mad. Well, maybe a little bit, like the drinking portion and all that, and the games and shit. Maybe I could see him, a leprechaun with that. But isn't
Yeah, you were
leprechauns
thinking
like,
the little guy?
yeah, isn't it supposed to be like dwarfs? No disrespect to dwarf people, you know what I'm saying? But isn't that what it was supposed to be?
Yeah, not all of leprechauns were like that. Not in I don't think it was in Celtic. I think Irish folklore maybe. I think in Celtic folklore they're definitely not little guys with the little hat. I don't think. I think that's just a Boston Celtic thing
Uh,
or just a logo. Like I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I always felt that he's more of an Irish leprechaun than anything. And the only thing is that this guy Neil pretty much he strips away the whole imagery of a mascot kind of thing. So he makes him more like a towering king warrior than an actual depiction of what we would consider a leprechaun.
mm. So then for that folklore, Irish folklore, they never said anything about height, or that is the height of what they said these leprechauns was. Because he seemed like he was about six something. He was a tall motherfucker. Because even
Yeah, he
Shadow
was.
said it.
But he wasn't like he was. But the adaptation of American Gods is not a true adaptation of what an Irish folklore leprechaun was. He's really far from the whole modern day cheerful stereotype of a Irish leprechaun. So they don't really depict him like you just said. He's like a big dude and stuff like that. They don't depict him like he should because they're more cheerful and like pop cultured stereotype.
Okay.
So it's like he's not going to be a tiny man in a green suit with a pot of gold, if that's what we're like talking about. But I think he was what you said he was close to like what 6'6" or something.
Yeah, he was like 6'5", 6'4".
Drink, yeah, drinking. He was alcohol, smoking, alcoholic and stuff like that.
Yeah,
That's
playing
like,
games, wilding out,
yeah.
fighting.
So that's more of a subversion of him. That's not what actual leprechaun is in Irish folklore. So they kind of like flipped it around and changed it.
So a leprechaun is what? Like a trickster, no?
A leprechaun is well, yeah, kind of, but not really. I wouldn't want to call him a trickster, but I'm talking about like, are you talking about in the show or in the actual in Irish folklore of a leprechaun?
Well, Irish folklore.
Well, in Irish folklore, no, they're like I said, they're more of they're pretty much like, how do I say it? They're more just like cheerful, man. Like I don't really know. Like they're cheerful and like they're not really evil or mean or anything like that. The Celtic ones are the ones you got to worry about, but like the Irish ones, they're more like a man. I want to say just a cheerful pop culture, like the way it is in modern days, the way cheerful pop culture, your stereotypical pop culture is these days. I don't have like another way to explain it. They're definitely not the way the show depicts them.
Yeah, that's a fact though. At least that's not how I had the image in my head. I ain't even gonna hold you.
Because I'm trying to think, was he was insulted by the Christian guy, right?
Hmm.
And then as punishment, he cursed him and he transformed him to like a bird-like creature and forced him to wander the wilderness forever, if I'm not mistaken. And that guy, that I want to say Finn, that is his. That's how he got cursed in ancient Ireland.
Mm.
Ronan Finn. There you go. I couldn't remember. I just remember Ronan Finn is his name. So he insulted this Ronan Finn, and I think he did it by like he threw us all his scepter, I think, into the lake or something like that. And then as punishment, he was cursed. And then he to go completely mad and he transformed from them into a bird. Um, I believe he spent the rest of his life leaping from tree to tree to tree to tree to tree, from Ireland to Scotland, and he was living in isolation, losing his mind, all kinds of different things. Like when you're alone, the alone type of stuff. When you're by yourself, you lose your sanity and beauty's drifting away. I think he wrote poetry about nature and so his death. That was pretty much in the Irish folklore. But like I said, the American God version, they totally flipped it around to more like the whole Lucky Coin adaptation of it, when he goes with his extreme run of terrible luck, and when he doesn't lose it, it's all a mind thing more
So
than anything.
leprechauns deal with gold and luck, though. No, isn't that from the
Pot of
mythology?
gold, yeah, yeah, pot of gold, I believe, and I think that I don't know if they can make wishes. I don't remember about that. But they
I think it has
definitely,
something to do with if you caught their ass. At least that's the story I remember. If you caught their ass, whether it be at the end or a rainbow or straight luck, they grant you a wish or something like that. I don't know. I didn't even know
yeah, that
leprechauns would
might
do
be
that.
accurate because I can't remember too much about the leprechauns. But the show's adaptation is the polar opposite.
In every way, basically. I think the
Oh
only
yeah.
connection is that I would assume leprechauns drink too.
And then another thing is I think he has a coin or uses some type of coins, but I don't think he hides it. Like he, you know how he kind of like does his tricks with the coins and shit, like he does with Shadow and all that other stuff, and he's like fooling around. He doesn't do that in real mythology. He just keeps it hidden. He doesn't flaunt it, kind of like that. So
Ah,
I think there is a lucky coin when it comes to that.
okay. That should like one of them John Wick coins.
That was pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool how it got old girl to come up back to life and all that other stuff that it did.
That, but
Very
see,
good.
again, this falls under luck. He didn't know it was gonna do that.
No,
I
he
don't
didn't
even
because
think
he loved
Mad
them.
Sweeney knew that.
No, he didn't.
Nah,
I
but
think the
see,
only
love
way.
ain't got nothing to do with nothing. You telling me, my brother.
I'm telling you that the
No,
reason
no, I'm
why
saying.
she got arrested. But
Yeah. No, I was gonna say, so if you're Shadow Moon,
hmm
Jaxson Reigns is Shadow Moon, and you hear your shorty, your wife, whatever, is murked. God forbid, I'm not trying to jinx your missus. And now you at the funeral, all in tears, and this lady come up to you, your wife died with my husband's dick in her mouth. I don't love shit at that point, my brother. I ain't even gonna hold you. I would have spit at her. That's what I would have threw in the coffin. A big thing, like a big cagajo, right in the fucking coffin. That's what I would have did.
yeah, but the reason why the coin was able to bring her back was because she was in love with Sweeney. She didn't. She never loved this guy Shadow Moon. Never, never. And she started falling in love with him, and that's why when she was in the altar, and then the coin fell, and that dude came in, and he seen it, and then it kind of like hit the blood, and then right, you know how she was in like in the getting before she got pulled back when she
Yes,
was in
yes,
line
yes.
down there. That wouldn't have happened if she didn't love him.
Mm,
See what I'm saying?
all right, I can see that. You think Sweeney is cursed because of fate or his own arrogance? Because they portray him, at least, I don't know if he was a king of the leprechauns, but he was some kind of royal. Because
Yeah,
I
he
don't
was
know if you
forced to kill his. He was forced to kill his grandfather.
yes, yes. But
But
so
it's
all yeah.
good.
No, I was gonna say, so is all leprechauns some type of royal? Is that part of that Irish folklore? The leprechauns are royals, or that the leprechauns have their own royals, or how, like, what is that?
I believe they have their own royals. I think they do have their own type of like royalty and titles per se for the leprechauns. But in this case, when it comes to him, I'm not so sure because I know in the books in the show's adaptation of him, he's not supposed to be a bad guy. He was supposed to be doing it for the right cause. It wasn't for malicious intent. He just had to. It was for his people. I could be wrong, and he ended up having to kill his grandfather and take over.
Now, are leprechauns demigods? Scarlett made a good point. She said she think he was some type of god. Well, he is now, at least they're saying. But are they saying he's some type of deity because again of the belief that people have? People believe in leprechauns for some reason.
Oh, yeah.
They might not believe in Santa and stuff of that nature, but people look for that 4-leaf clover. People hope to catch one of them little motherfuckers to get their wish or to at minimum get those shits pot of gold. Even though I don't want nothing to do with that gold after watching all those leprechaun movies.
Yeah, I'm good with the pot of gold too. They can keep that shit.
Yeah,
But
if that man would have been like, I'm a leprechaun, and then turned around, all right, you won. Here's one of my gold pieces. I'd have been like, nah, I don't want that. I don't want that. What kind of money you got, homie? Because I don't want nothing to do with your gold, brother. But then again,
oh,
the
go ahead. I want to answer your
yeah,
question.
hold
So
that thought though. The
okay,
depiction of him, it wasn't even his pot of gold though, if you remember. He kept talking about his a hoard, almost as if there's some kind of dragon or something. He said, I could pull it out the air because I'm pulling it from the hoard. Because he never had, like, you never see him pull out of his pocket a pot of gold. You know what I'm saying? It was
yeah, it's
always
a
bloop, bloop. He pulled it out of the air. Bloop, bloop. He pulled it out of the air.
well, that's what
That-
it was. That's exactly what in America the pot is basically. That's Neil Gaiman's version of it. That like a cosmic manifestation. So there like really no pot there. You know what I mean?
So again, he could do that forever then. Like unlimited. That's it. He can just keep.
He can pull. He can definitely manifest and pure anything out of thin air. But it's like a volatile luck
Mm,
type of thing. But that's in American Gods because he doesn't carry a physical pot, like a physical a pot or anything like that. His hoard kind of like exists like in a pocket dimension or like a
I don't
spiritual
even know if
reserve.
it's his though. And the
No, it's his.
is it his? Because
Yeah, it's
remember,
his.
the whole reason we got, again, this is just my thoughts behind that. The whole reason we got that storyline where him and dead wife, like he liked to call her stupid ass, the whole reason was to get that coin back. And that's where he started mentioning the whore. He was like, you know, you don't understand. That shit is the whore. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was nervous about getting this damn coin back.
Yeah,
Wasn't like the Leprechaun movies and I'm gonna get my bloody coin and kill people. Nah, it wasn't about that. But that motherfucker needed to get that coin back.
yeah, he needs that coin. And the reason why he needs that coin is because it's his hoard is like specific to it, and that gold coin it shines like a basically it's made of the sun's energy, and it was given to him by ancient kings. So that's not just your average sun; it's a sun coin. I don't know if you
Mm,
knew that.
no, I didn't.
So it's not it, and it doesn't just mean money. It's like sovereign luck.
I did not know that. I'm telling you, because me being a dragon fan, hearing Horde, I'm like, oh shit, this man is robbing a dragon. Or not necessarily robbing, but borrowing from a dragon. Because when he was fucking with Shadow Moon, he wasn't like keeping it. He
Right.
would take it. He was almost showing off to this dude, like, "Oh, you nice with tricks? Let me show you this one." Knowing he's a demigod or whatever, you know what I'm saying, or whatever he is. So because of that, he's like, "Oh, you there's no way you can do it." You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, maybe I'm bugging, but I want to say in the book, Shadow ended up doing it, which was the first hints that we got, like, you know, or like he almost did it type thing. The Mad Sweeney was like, "Wait, what?"
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? But I get that was like giving us the first hints of what lies beneath type of thing.
Well, I think what happens is that most people confuse the whole Irish and Celtic myth of everything because
it's generally the Celtic myth that the pots of gold are guarded by leprechauns, that they weren't even magical. They were just buried treasures of or sacred artifacts. And at that time, the gods, when they were defeated and driven underground, they hid their gold by burying it and to try to keep it away from invaders. So that's pretty much the Celtic myth of everything when it comes to it. The Irish folklore is more if you capture a leprechaun, he's going to offer you his hoard for exchange of his freedom, kind of thing. And that's if you capture. Remember how you say you capture him, you can make a wish.
Hmm.
All it's going to do is offer you something from his hoard so he can leave. So whatever's in there, whatever you can manifest, gold, it could be anything. You can turn it into dead leaves, rocks. You can bring tragedy to humans who take it, all kinds of different stuff. But
Hmm.
that's the price. That's what you call the price of freedom in the Irish folklore of aspect of it all. Now the TV shows twist to it. It goes even deeper because it's like he hides his coin in a coin, kind of like in a spirit hoard, and it's like inside his body, more like a shadow, right? But well, no, I can't get into that right now. But it changes. I don't want to spoil nothing in season two, and it becomes something different, and it becomes something else. And I don't want to spoil it, but it becomes a weapon, and that horde becomes a weapon in the show. So that's pretty much the separation of the show and your common folklores. But that's what I believe. Some people they confuse Celtic and Irish folklores together. That's where you get the little guy, the pot of gold.
What role does Irish mythology assign to wandering warriors like Sweeney? Because that's almost how, at least his version of a leprechaun, he was a fallen king type of thing. He was a wandering warrior and a fucking drunk. You know what I'm saying? But yet
Yeah.
he was a leprechaun. He had some power, maybe not the power of the Celtics or how they could grant a wish or what, you know what I'm saying? But he had some power because he was using that shit to pull the gold from the hoard. And that hoard, that gold he was pulling from the hoard brought this chick back to life. So
Hmm.
just that, just the flex of being able to summon and control something with so much power must assume that he has power as well.
Yes, but is that? But was it because it was the luck Sun coin that did it, not just the other ones that brought her back to life?
Well, it was the coin that was taken directly from the horde.
So the real
Remember
one,
they fought. Yeah,
remember?
remember they fought.
Yeah, and he was trying to hide it, and there's a bunch of other ones, and he took the real one, but he didn't know it was the real one. He put it on
Yeah,
the
but
body.
if you remember, they fought, and then if I remember correctly, after they fought, they started getting saucy,
Mm.
and it was like the next morning or whatever the case was, he was flipping, "Where's my coin?" All right, but Shadow already dipped off.
Yep, he didn't know, but he didn't realize it was gone. Yeah.
Exactly. And Shadow dip off with the coin. That's why it was so easy. Shadow just think I has bullshit ass coin, not realizing one, the significance of that coin, and two, the shit was solid gold. I'm pretty sure that shit was worth about 8 to 10,000. That little coin, you know what I'm saying? That little solid ass coin.
The little crow was worth some bread, I'll tell you that much. Heavy as hell, probably.
That's a
Made from
fact.
the sun, that shit was heavy. That shit was like five
That's
pounds,
what I'm
probably.
saying. So let's talk about Chernobog. So, do we know any mythology behind him? Because I've never heard of this dude before. Is he like a Russian version of Thor?
He's a Slavic version of death.
That's why he was so into bashing this dude head in the whole time.
Yeah, that's why the hammer wanted blood. He's like he needs to feed the hammer his blood and stuff like that.
And when he
But
was talking about the job, he was getting all orgasmic. Oh, you bring the cow in. Oh, you line it up. Those were the day. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, they threw him basically hit in the show threw him in there. Um, how can I say this? So they pretty much put him in there for like a modern reality, like depicting him as a bitter elder immigrant, kind of like living in the rundown apartment in Chicago. But
Yeah, shirt all dusty, looking like a bum.
yep. Then he comes in with that jacket. He was gonna mess him up until old girl said, "Hey, you need to calm down. We gotta have a meeting."
Yeah, yeah. That
But
man
yeah, that's
was
basically
thirsty.
what he is. He's known as the Slavic black god of darkness, death, and misfortune.
Like a
Really?
yes.
I don't want that man down with me. Why y'all never pick me? Dude, wherever you go, misfortune follows. You know what I'm saying? Keep your ass over there.
Sometimes that's the Ragnarok, so misfortune can happen over there. That's where I'll send him.
Facts. Facts. So now what's his relation to the girls he was kind of living with, the ladies? Yeah, I know the ladies has something to do with the day, right? So one of them is like the morning goddess, one of them is the night goddess, and one of them is the midday goddess.
I want to say those are the fates. I thought those were the fates.
No, well, I guess they could be connected to the fates, but those is also Slavic deities. It's literally the morning, the afternoon, and the night. That's why if you remember when they was talking to him and he was like, "Yo, where's your sister?" You know she don't wake up till the moon is out type shit. So the chick just stood in the bed all day until the night because she was the goddess of the night. She brought the moon. And if you remember in the story, that's where Shadow met her. Remember, Shadow didn't see her because she was sleeping. But that night, he woke up in the middle of the night and walked outside to look at the moon, and she popped up on him. I actually think
Hmm.
he smacked cheeks too, to be honest with you.
Okay, so those three women are cosmic jailers. So, but in American gods, they're portrayed as elder relatives. Okay, so in the real Slavic, they're known as the Zoria sisters, and these sisters are the three women that he lives with, but they're just companions and basically keeping them in a prison. Now, the American gods do it a little different because they're describing. I want to say one of them is his aunt, and the other one's his cousin. I want to say in the show,
Mm.
but yeah, there's not really a narrative relationship between those and those women in real Slavic folklore. So they're pretty much the goddess of the stars. So like the auroras. So they have like a deep relationship with them because of the realm of darkness and chaos. That's why they're pretty much kind of like go hand in hand because he's the darkness and they're pretty much the stars.
I like how you said that, they the jailers, because if he's a god of darkness, yeah, keep his ass jailed up. Y'all watch his ass. You know what I'm saying? Y'all watch
Gotta watch him. He's dangerous. He's dangerous. That's why Odin wants to recruit him. But they another thing is like they also have their own type of watchdogs.
what
They're
let me
called
ask you this. What's the name the gods are calling Odin?
they don't even call him a god. Don't they call him Wednesday?
No, well, sometimes they call him Wednesday, but I like when we first see Odin in Chernobyl, he calls him by like a whole different name, like another name. Does Odin have other names?
Yeah. They call him the All Father,
Nope. What's it?
Mr. Wednesday. There's a bunch of other ones that they use. Woden, Wotan,
Ah, it might have been Wotan.
Grimnir,
No,
which
that
means
up there you go. It was great. Ah, Grimnir. Why you coming? Yeah, it was
Grimnir. Okay,
Grimnir.
yeah. So Grimnir basically it means the masked one or the hooded one.
Ah,
So that refers to basically his habit of traveling in deep disguise. And then the
Uh,
All Father, the ancient ruling status of North Pantheon, that's the All Father. And then Woden and Wotan, and that's his older Germanic form of his name. So that's like the German part of it before they went. Remember how we were talking about it? Like they were in Europe and they went from German to like over there by the Vikings and stuff like that in
yeah,
Europe,
yeah.
the Slavic deities and old spirits. Yeah, that's what's his name before them. Woden and Wotan,
So he
I
was
think.
two different gods at one point.
Yes, and flipped Norse.
So now
Pretty
here's
much.
my question: is he like an embodiment of evil, or is he just simply the god of darkness? Because now, depending, I guess, on the pantheon, the god of darkness is not necessarily always evil.
Right. Excuse me. He is like Hades, is the best way I would like to explain it. Because everybody thinks that Hades is evil and he really isn't.
He got a bad rep.
He got a bad rep for just being the god of the underworld, and he's the god of darkness. So
For being set up by his two brothers. Zeus hit him
that
with the whoever got the smallest straw. And they made sure whatever straw that dude picked was the small one. Sorry, Hades. You're going down to hell, brother. You can have that.
yeah, he's more. I don't think I don't want to say evil. He's more like supposed to be like a grumpy old man. For the most part, this is the show. This is the show's adaptation of him. So he'll basically like he does with Shadow Moons. He wants to with the head with the cattle and the hammer. He just
Mhm.
wants to smash his head in and stuff like that.
He even
But
tapped him on the head with the hammer. Soon
yeah, because
shadow.
an old world code of honor and not malice if you do that.
Really?
Yeah.
I
So a
thought
lot of
that
stuff that
meant
we don't know
tap
that we
tap.
think they're teasing and shit, but yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was tap tap tap. I'm gonna crack this skull. You know what I'm saying? I didn't realize that was some honor shit.
And he keeps his word, so usually Zeus wouldn't do that, or people like that wouldn't do it. For example, the whole thing with Shadow, well, the second time in Checkers, anyway. And he's pretty much like he pretty much acts everything out of grief. Like everything he does is because America forgot him and forced him into the grim life. It's not. I think he's a slaughterhouse worker. So
Did you see the look on Shadow's face when this man there's a checkers? He's like
eh,
checkers. You want to play chat? Okay, I guess. Like I'll
and
play
Bellabog is
checkers.
his name. I mean, is his brother. So he misses his brother. So
So what
there's not.
happened? His brother died. Is it one of the guys that the belief got so little he dissipated?
I think so. I think that he literally like just disintegrated. I think because of, or did he shift with seasons? I think it happened during the seasons, and he ended up shifting or something like that.
Mm.
Because he might be him. I don't know. I don't want to spoil that either, but it's a possibility that he could be him in the show.
Well, okay. Let me ask you this: Slavic mythology. How is that different from Norse mythology in its treatment of the gods? Like, is there any difference?
Uh, well, kind of in a way. See, the Slavic mythology is like pre-Christian, a pre-Christian worldview. So it's not like the concept of pure absolute evil didn't exist in that way. So it
Ah,
wasn't like misfortune or malice or anything like that. They were like it's like kind of like a rebranding kind of thing. And that's basically like the when it comes to like the Slavic mythology and their forces of nature and stuff like that. But I think Chernobog was more like a devil figure that was popularized by Christians, and like I want to say old monks who tried to convert the Slavic tribes back in the day with their own ideas of God and Satan.
ah,
So there's always like
You know how like for okay, so I'm gonna use from for example. I always talk about Nyarlathotep and all those the black man and like the black man or the man in black, for example, in Lost, and you got the black man or the black god, and then you got the white god. That's pretty much what the branding is of God and Satan in the Native American pantheons. It's always white God versus black God. So when you hear black and white or white God versus black God, that's God versus the devil.
That's crazy. And that's even in like modern, well, not modern, but necessarily like cowboy flicks. The bad dude always came in wearing black. Good guy always came in wearing white. Like,
You know, those were the colors of good and bad. That was your stereotypical colors. And the thing is, they're not really colors. If you look at the color wheel, they're not considered colors.
yeah, it's the absence of color and then all colors, right? Something like that.
You know,
Don't ask me which is which, though.
that all colors is black, absent is white.
Really? That's crazy. Well, I guess. Because as you start mixing colors, they tend to get darker, darker, darker. I guess if you mix everything, they just gone. That's it. Black.
Eventually, you mix them up, it's gonna get black. Yeah.
So let's move on to Ostera. We mentioned a little bit about her before. This is actually one of, I guess, Witch's Brew's forms of her goddess. So, how much of Easter's story actually comes from Ostera, from the Germanic goddess Ostera?
So she's like a Germanic paganism kind of combination when it comes to the mythical aspect of it. But
Yeah.
there's like a little bit of controversy when it comes to that too, because most of what most people know, I want to say it's like the 8th century, there was a monk, and I can't remember his name, but he wrote the Anglo-Saxons pagans, and he man, what was the name of that book? I don't. Well, it was celebrated the goddess or Orste or Ostara, but that was the old English equivalent of it at the time. And so I think the Euro- the Europeans changed it to like dawn or to shine, and they linked basically her to like the rising sun of the east and the awakening of Earth after winter. So the whole debate about everything is that the ancient source, pretty much of the modern historians who debated that Ostara was just a widespread goddess and pretty much like simply a localized deity. But you've heard of Jacob Grimm from the Brothers Grimm.
Yes, sir.
So he basically found linguistic evidence in Germany supporting her existence as a major divinity of a light in spring. Now that's when it comes to you know her real kind of like mythological information. Now the whole thing about Gaiman's and the American Gods depiction of her, it's also a linguistic connection between her and the modern day of Easter, right? So they kind of like use it to craft her in a unique survival, kind of like strategic way. So let's just take Wednesday and Chernozog, for example. They're starving at this particular time, but she's well fed, she's good, she's thriving, no complaints. But she's
Facts.
deeply bitter though. And then she explains to everyone, well, while they're celebrating the whole day, her ancient symbols and the eggs, right? The rabbits, I want to say the feasts, the spring feasts.
Oh,
But
so that's
they
all
all,
connected to her.
yes, but they all dedicate their worship to Jesus Christ instead of her.
Ah, so she's kind of getting secondhand power.
So she essentially is surviving on the spiritual table scraps
She's
of
kind of
Christianity.
leeching almost like a leech. I just sit here and slurp on this little residuals on these
Yeah,
little residuals.
she's having the seconds. The seconds of the scraps that pretty much of Christianity. That's what she's doing.
But the way she walked out on that show and brought in the day, basically, you know what I'm saying? They was all, even Jesus was there, like all 50 of them was there, like,
How
ooh,
50 of them
you know
were.
what I'm saying? All 50 of them was there, like, ooh.
Excuse me.
Almost giving me the vibe that they were trying to say that her powers, or at least her power in this aspect, is greater than that of the 50 Jesuses that was sitting in the beach or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Well, that's because that's the visual irony that she has. So she's beautiful, pale, when she's like, surrounded by the bunnies and flowers and the pastel colors and shit like that. But and then she has the brunch. Was it in San Francisco? But that's just to try to convince her that she's still relevant. All she's doing there is just trying to convince herself that she's still relevant because of Christ. That's why she's
Yeah,
doing those things.
that's funny. That's right, because he even said it when he was recruiting her. He was like, "Take the fucking spring back." He was like, "And make them worship you for it." I was like, "Oh," he said, "Make them pray for that shit back." You know what I'm saying? They want that shit. Make them believe in your ass again. That's deep, though, if you think about it.
And that's when she unleashed her true power.
Yeah, and you see her form almost like, yeah, that was her human form or whatever the aspect is supposed to be. But it literally, like right before our eyes, she changed. You know what I'm saying? She was like different. Her hair changed, everything kind of changed.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was gonna change because he basically convinced her to reclaim her own powers, to force the Americans to remember her. And that's exactly what she did. And she ended up reversing the spring and I want to say the blight across the United States. And so basically she was killing the crops and bringing winter back, pretty much, to show humanity what could happen if the fertility goddess stops giving a you know what.
Now, do you think she would have that type of power because of the siphoning she was doing to the Easter?
hmm Don't forget, she was still strong. She wasn't as weak as the others.
Nah, she was living love. I was like, yo, look at this biz. When you have Chernobog looking dusty, eating cup of noodles, you know what I'm saying? This bitch is living love.
And let's see. So I'm trying to think the difference. So the difference between so in the book, she's pretty much followed by rabbits, right? But in the folklore, she's gets turned into a frozen bird, and she's like forced a hare to lay eggs. So a rabbit to lay eggs. So it was a it was a rabbit and eggs was the whole concept of everything. So that's why it became a universal symbol of fertility, that you got rabbits and eggs, and that's why Easter has rabbits and eggs.
That's crazy. So so Easter itself,
Is a fertility holiday, whatever you want to call it, ritual worship.
so now here's my question. We celebrate Easter. Well, I'm not saying you do. I don't know what your beliefs is, but I celebrate.
American. Yeah.
Okay, but so we celebrate based off of Jesus died on Friday,
hmm
resurrected on Sunday.
hmm
If that whole thing came from the Germanic beliefs and from Ostera, which is what allowed her to siphon off of that, is that just he happened to all that happened to him on that day as well, or there? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Those are different times. Nothing happened at the same time. You see,
ah,
there's um there's a big misconception when it comes to a lot of the. Don't forget the time is off for one. We talked about that throughout the times, and then you have something that is being told to you in a way that didn't happen. So a truth without the truth, for example.
fake
So
news.
take Jesus Christ, known as Jesus.
you have a man named Yeshua who walked around in form, who was they some people claim that he's the same thing as Jesus. That was his real name. Whether he was a prophet, whether he was a relative of the bloodline of Solomon, whatever the case may be, he was an existing person who actually walked the earth at one particular point. Now, the times just don't add up. Another thing is a lot of people don't know that Jesus is just another word for Jupiter Zeus. By combining Jupiter and Zeus together after the Greek and the Roman pantheon, flipped over and converted to it. So people think that Jesus is or was a person that was the name of the person that actually existed, and it wasn't. And Yeshua was a person who was more of a prophet, but it's not the person that they speak of when you're talking about the man who did the things that they say in the Christian Bible, if that makes sense.
Mm, okay.
Because don't forget, they're just another thing added and switched and changed. So if you take the Christian Bible, you're going to take Lucifer. Lucifer is going to be your Enki, and Michael is going to be Enlil, and your God of all gods is going to be Anu. That's your Trinity, because Christianity totally kicked out the Queen of Heaven. Walter, sorry about that.
Really?
Yes. So after Ishtar and Isis and those, they just totally brushed off the whole feminine, the whole Queen of Heaven, the whole part of that aspect of religion and scripture, and just deleted it from history. That's why you had the whole Gospel of Mary Magdalene deleted from the whole scripture. Now the Ethiopians, like we talked about, it still have it. They keep it, and if you read that, she's just going to tell you stuff that about opening up your third eye and the whole bloodline of where they come from and what happened. And a lot of people don't understand or don't know what happened because back in those days, see, Yeshua slash Jesus was a rabbi. Now, before he was a rabbi, John the Baptist, his cousin, was the rabbi. He was married to Mary Magdalene. When John the Baptist passed away, Yeshua had to marry Mary Magdalene because you had to be married in order to be a rabbi. So a lot of the secrets were they didn't want them to know that they were married, let alone had children. And basically, her being the male feminine side of the aspect of everything, which is your pituitary gland. And Christ would be your full Christ consciousness, but your male part would be your pineal gland. And once you merge those two hemispheres of your brain into one, that's when you activate your third eye. And that's when you reach gnosis and you basically tie the feminine and the male together. And when you do that, you become one again. Because in Gnosticism, we come from a place called the pleroma. So the pleroma is what people think is the actual heaven that people go to. And because they don't understand, most of them don't understand what they're reading or what's going on to a certain extent. And of course, the changing and stuff doesn't help with all the changing and everything throughout scripture and folklores and all that other stuff. But it's still the same concept. You're pretty, they not in Gnosticism, they believe that you have these things called the seven archons. And Yalgabeo is the blind idiot god who was given birth to by Sophia and created this so-called material world known as the demiurge. Now, in order to get out of this spiritual prison, you're supposed to open up your third eye, Kundalini, unite the hemispheres, your chakras, whatever terminology you want to use. And once you do that, you achieve a higher being, and that's when you can be in your spiritual divine body. like a OBE. I call it a OBE because it's more like a controlled out of body experience. But once you open it, you can just do it at will. But it takes time and for people to do that. But it is a thing, and a lot of people who have um, you have your Buddhists, you have your religions in India that have that type of symbolism and representation, and they understand how to do that. And but it's not here done in America here. Like people don't do it, they don't think about it. It's not. Maybe some people do, maybe some people don't, but it's not a thing unless it's a cultural thing that you were born into. You're not going to know about it unless you read or look it up, especially in America. Like America, they're just programming people not to pay attention.
Okay. So let's go into the Anubis and Ibis. How accurate is Anubis was the weighing of the heart compared to the ancient Egyptian beliefs?
It was pretty accurate. It was pretty accurate. They There's really no way you can really like mess it up when it comes to the weighing of it, but it was done well.
Why does it seem like death in Egyptian belief was almost compassionate? Is that an accurate statement for that belief system? Because even if you were bad or good, did they send you to hell? Was there a hell? I actually never heard if there's an Egyptian hell.
And yeah, but it's just called the underworld. It's different. But there's a form of hell in every mythology. It's just a material world. When you really get into down to like the semantics and the definition, it's just a material world. Like heaven only meant sky, always has just meant the skies above. And it's like hell or the underworld has always been the material world, earth. And people like that's lost in translation. The Nephilim, they say the Nephilim means giants and stuff like that, but then they say they're falling angels. They 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 made people said this what it is, and then people believed it. Okay, that's what they're called, but they were never called that. Just like Satan was never a devil and stuff like that. People just read it, interpret it as that's what it is because that's what you're programmed to know, and that's not the cause at all. That's not what it is whatsoever. And the good news is, and I'm glad to be living in 2026 and 2027 because disclosure is coming, and I can't wait till the world sees it. To be honest, I can't wait till they tell everybody that religion is a sham and these things exist.
The
What
world
is
is going
everybody
to
going to
go
do?
crazy, is what's going to happen.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait to have it. They were supposed to have a one world religion. It's been
Because,
prophesied. One
because
world religion, one what do you
yeah,
call
but
it? One
once you say
one
religion
world
is fake,
government.
what's going to be the one world religion?
Everybody's going to know everything. We don't know what it's going to be. That's the thing. Like I don't know what it's going to be called, what it's going to be labeled, but I can tell you it's going to be where everybody is aware of everything that's going on. So you can't like if you know the Greys exist, the Draconians exist, or the Reptilians, and then you have the Nordics, or all the other ones that may be around and stuff like that. You They come and you see these people and everybody tells you, guess what? You thought this and this and this, but guess what? You were put here by these people and blah 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 blah. Then what? Everybody's gonna get everybody's gonna have no choice to agree with everybody and know damn, guess what? These beings exist. We thought this, we thought that, but we're actually the only people that should be fucking sticking together and not being a bunch of comediantas in the goddamn world worrying about shit that just doesn't matter.
Mm,
That's the only thing that I can hope for. People to wake up and realize certain things.
that's
Because
just
we're
going to
Homo
happen.
sapiens sapiens for a reason. And we have 47 chromosomes for a reason. And there ain't nothing on this damn planet that does for a reason.
We can't use our power because they pumping us full of fluoride in the water.
That does it. Fluoride does it too. Amongst all the food that they do, there's a bunch of other things. Chemtrails, You got arson. They spend the chemtrails and the aerosol sprays, two different type of sprays, but they spray it in the air. The toxic metals and shit like that. We're not even supposed to have clouds like people think we do. That's just to cover up bullshit. And then weather machines and all kinds of different shit to fuck with the weather. Like we don't know that exists.
Yeah,
It's
that's a
cr-
fact.
it's crazy shit like that that's fucking the planet up, and then you wonder why. It's because these people that run the place are going to continue to do that, and right now they're at their wits end, so they gotta you know how when you have like a come up and you're like, damn, you know what, this fucking stock market is going to crash, so I better get all my shares and fucking sell it. All right, that's basically what they're doing with life right now. They ain't gonna have nowhere to go.
Bug the fuck out. The jinn. We actually touched up on the jinn a little bit.
Mhm.
How accurate do you think their depiction of Ifrit, the jinn, was?
Hmm. Ah, it was okay, I guess. It was okay.
So is that your thought process of how a jinn might react? Clap homie cheeks and then leave him his life?
Well, for the most part, that's see, the thing is, when it comes to the jinns, and it's more Islamic, but like they westernized it more like a genie, a creature made of like smokeless fire type shit. And but in the Islamic, that's the Arabic folklore. They're not genies trapped in lamps or anything like that. They're just like a separate race of beings who coexist with humans.
Mm.
So there's like three creations of them. So you got Islamic traditions where the angels are created from light, humans are from clay, and then jinns are from like the smokeless fire. So those are the three types of creation when it comes to the Islamic tradition. So they're like that's why they say people they consider them more like demons because like if the angels were created from light and the humans from clay, then the smokeless fire would be the jinns, which would be demons, but they're not really demons. But that's why they tie them together. Ifrit is more see in the mythology, he's a high-ranking jinn. Um, if I'm not mistaken, and he's connected to the underworld. But in the whole thing about an American gods, it's more like a disguise more than anything because he basically didn't he was a taxi driver. He
Yeah.
exhausted the taxi driver, right, with his eyes.
Well, yes, and
He
then
took the
he brought,
sunglasses off, right? Okay.
yeah, showed him the two balls of flames, basically.
So that's basically his disguise. And then the other stuff that his cosmic power would be like, well, I don't want to say cosmic powers. I want to say the humans are only going to see them as monsters, like as tools, kind of like the glamour thing, if he wanted to, like to be exploited or hunted, so that he can kind of like do that too. What those the jinns can do it there. And then Salim, I think, when he meets Salim, I think they had a mutual night together or something like that. And then the jinns were wish granting of nature, but that was just pretty much changed into like a survival tactic. So the morning after the encounter, when after he leaves, like the jinn vanishes and shit. You know how he left behind the clothes, the wallet, the taxi keys for Salem.
Well, no, he didn't. He left his car keys.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He left behind his clothes, his wallet, his taxi keys for
No,
Salem.
the jinn wasn't driving a taxi. The jinn was rich. Remember, he was explaining the story. The jinn was rich, and the jinn gave him his rich life and took his taxi cab life. And the next
Yeah,
time
and
we
then he
see
freed
the jinn,
himself.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. But the next time we see the Jinn, he living a happy life, driving a taxi, dropping people off places and shit.
Yeah, because he was just giving them a fresh start. He freed himself and was giving Salim a fresh start.
Salim, that was his name, yes. But that was for nothing. Why? Because he was obsessed with this dude or this creature or demon or whatever a Jinn is. He was obsessed. So the whole time he's with dead wife and what you call it,
That way.
trying to get to where they think the Jinn might be. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh yeah, she cracking jokes the whole way. Ah, your lover boy, huh? He did his thing, huh? You know what I'm saying? He broke you down, huh? Look, you gay now? Wasn't you married? Like, you know, like she was all confused. So let's go into the new gods before we wrap this up because we've been rocking. So, technical boy, would you consider him a god? Or is he just a manifestation of humanity's obsession with technology?
Yeah, I would say it's more of a manifestation of humanity's infatuation and worship. I think that's what
But would that
didn't
give
that
him
create
power?
him?
Basically, that's where these new gods come from. These new gods are coming from. Well, man, I see now. Here's where it's funny to me because we mentioned it more than once. Yet there was times that, like for example, Belquist, they made an offer to Belquist to become a new god.
Mm-hmm.
So, is it that these new gods are
Flipping.
old gods that flipped? Is that
Yes, sir. Some of them, not all of them, but some of them are. That is definitely the case.
then
I
we
kind of
got
like it too.
media? Could media exist without celebrity culture?
Oh man, I don't think so. I think excuse me, she needs all that public stuff, otherwise, in order for her to survive.
I think personally, I don't think because okay, so now if you take away all the celebrities that she, the Marilyn Monroe's and all that shit, she was booing. You still got Facebook, Instagram, social media. Media is still media. You still got the news. You still got, you know what I'm saying? There's news channels 24 hours a day. So either way, I would think media will be getting power and props of some sort. Why?
Right.
Because the fact that news is 24 hours and there's always somebody watching it tells you, you know what I'm saying? The belief in that shit. I gotta watch the news.
Well, don't forget the media is just the television screen. She explains to Shadow that the time that I think she said the time that they spend in front of their television is a direct modern worship or something like that. So she pretty much knows that the people offer their most valuable resource is which is their time, sacrificing hours and hours of their day just looking at a screen. So it doesn't have to be the news. It doesn't have to be like TV and just TV in general. So if you take that away, she can't. I don't think she could even exist. The same thing with technology. Take technology away from technology, boy. He's not. It's not going to go bode well for them.
That would never happen though. We like
Yeah, that's
technology
true.
way too much because that man is, if anything, he gonna get stronger. That man gonna be technology man soon. You know what I'm saying? Because every time they come out with some new shit, that man gets a little notch in his belt. Even though out of all the new gods, he's like a weirdo. They don't even
Yeah,
really
he is
like
kind. Yeah,
fucking with
he is kind of a weird. Another thing that her is that she's well, just like everybody. Like every god has some type of vulnerability. Hers is like technical. Like I was saying with technical boy, she can only depend on the mediums to consume her. You know what I mean?
them.
The mediums and the humans. That's it. She can't. There's nothing else that's going to be able to influence her what she needs done. I think she says that in the book. Doesn't she say that in the book? Something about when the war reaches or when the war finishes, the influence begins to crack. Some shit like that. I can't remember,
Yeah,
but I think she says something like that.
I
So
don't
they're
doubt it.
just But the new gods, basically, the difference between the old gods and the new gods is I think the newer ones are constantly being replaced.
Well, you see that they bodied this dude, Weirdo McGee. But at
Quick
this whole
ass.
yeah, but at the same point, he was like I felt like he was the weakest new god because like I said, they was like when he used to come in, he was like the sleazy, you know what I'm saying? They're like, ah, this fucking guy's here. Like there was no respect. I was gonna say loyalty, but I'm not expecting loyalty from God from these gods. You know what I'm saying? Clearly, they all got their own agenda. They might hold you down, but they holding you down because at that point in time, your cause is in the same line as theirs, type of thing.
Yep.
So, does worship through attention carry the same power as traditional worship? You think?
No, I think so. I don't believe that. I think
I
well,
actually think I actually
but,
think all these new gods are
mhm.
taking heavy liberty with the terminology and the power they stating they have as these new gods because like this question they're not gaining their power from like sacrifice. Even if you want to be that's somatics, oh, sacrificing your time, that's somatics as a motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? Because these old guys, they were getting bodies. People was sacrificing their firstborn. You know what I'm saying? They was getting shit
Yeah,
that
yep,
just because I sit down in front of the TV or I take a walk and I watch YouTube, to me, that's not sacrificing my time. I'm doing it because I enjoy doing it. So how would that, you know what I'm saying? How would that be considered a power up for you? Yeah, sacrifice your time. What the fuck you talking about? It's not a sacrifice. I like this show. You know what I'm saying? It's like what you talking about.
well, yeah, but in the show, it's I think the traditional worship is more like an ancient, um, deeply intimate. That's like a ritual and the conscious sacrifice of something physical or emotional. I think it doesn't necessarily have to be. It could be anything of those things, not necessarily just one particular thing.
Are the new gods replacing religion, you think, or have they become a whole new religion among, onto themselves?
I think they're adapting. I think they're becoming something new. Some of them are becoming something new.
Is that why you think this war is really about to jump off? Because the old gods fear this change. They're not with the change. So because they're not with the change, eventually they're gonna go like Chernarog's brother and I guess just dissipate.
I don't think so. I think
That's why Belquist she was with it. I think I'm gonna have to. Sorry, Odin. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, Wednesday, but I don't know. Because I ain't trying to lose the little bit I got. And they're telling me I can get more. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Turn,
So
she
see
turn around. She turned around, look at Wednesday. You ever heard of OnlyFans? Psh, I'm killing it. You know what I'm saying? My worship is through the roof. My worship
yeah.
is through the roof. So if belief creates gods, what other gods or future gods might humanity accidentally create? Because that's clearly what's going on in this book. If you telling me technology and media are gods now, that's not something that we're out like, yeah, let's make this god as humanity. So because of that, these are accidental creations. It's like the episode of Supernatural when, the belief system accidentally created these monsters or whatever the case might be. It ain't humanity out there, actively trying to do this. It's just a bunch of people like their car, a bunch of people like their computers. You know what I'm saying? So now because of that, their belief, boop, you got a weirdo.
Yeah.
They got a weirdo just came into existence, so to speak. And I can't remember what it's called, but there's actually a word or terminology for that because supposedly they say that that is possible. That if enough people believe something, that it becomes, it becomes fact, so to speak.
Systematic modern terrors. What's the term? I don't know. I was trying to figure out the term you're talking about.
Yeah, I can't remember what the term is, but there's a term if a bunch of people believe something hard enough, type of shit. It can actively occur, so to speak.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, man, that's crazy, man. I would like honestly, that's a good question because there's so many like different things that can be created that can just a guy can just tear everything up. I would worry about something like a nuclear god. You know what I mean? Like the god of a nuclear bomb or something like that.
I'm waiting for fucking Aries to pop up and the new gods be like, oh, perfect. They love war now, brother. You know what I'm saying? They fighting
He's
right now
around
over
too.
oil.
I think he's around somewhere. I wouldn't be surprised. Like at this point, there's gonna be a lot of people. I mean, not a lot, but there's gonna be some people we're gonna find out that are old gods, that are the ancient gods, flipped new gods, and that's this man's way of doing his own version of Ragnarok. You know, like the old gods and the ancient gods are the old ways, the new gods are the new ways. Now we got to fight and get this shit out the way, and here comes Ragnarok.
A topa. That's what it's called. A topa. When enough people believe into something, it can actually occur or happen. And if that's the case, that means enough people believe in the Mandela effect. We done made the Mandela effect ourselves.
Yeah, that's very possible. I mean, that is a thing. That's like a materialized thought form.
Exactly. Exactly. And then if you're saying, going back to the Anunnaki and all that, that we actually deeper than what we is and we have power like motherfucking Dragon Ball Z, maybe enough of us together in the same belief, a trickle of that power, you know what I'm saying, come out and something happen. I don't know.
Well, they say for the last, I want to say 5 or 6 years approximately, that it'll only take 7% of the world's population to activate their third eye to ascend to the fifth dimension, and that's
As
what the true rapture is supposed to be.
so as
Just
for all of
7%
humanity.
for all of humanity. It will take 7%. Now we're going to shift to the fifth dimension, but
Now
we're,
imagine that shit though. Imagine if you one of the people that you're okay. So you said it takes 7%. So you one of the
that's what they say.
93% and don't know what the fuck is going on, but you wake up one morning and everything is different. You walk out your window and there's dragons fly. What the fuck? Is that a fucking dragon? The fuck going
It
on?
ain't gonna be a transition like that fast, but yeah, it's gonna be something like that. See, the thing is, the whole aspect of this is it's a shift. So when they say the rapture, people are gonna get left behind, they're kind of right to a certain extent. So think of it like this. Think about it. We're on the same physical plane of existence that we know as Earth. We're going to vibrate at 3, 4, 5D, 60, and 70. When the planet officially shifts to 5D, which is the planet itself and the population on it, there are going to be people in the 3D that are going to be still living on this plane of existence. And then there's going to be people that are going to be in the 5D and consider them like the smart cities that are coming and technology like that. And then the 3D people are not going to be able to use that type of technology.
Mm.
Is the best way I could explain it, and it's going to set a division, another division between humans, Homo sapiens sapiens, and segregate us even more. That's the plan.
That shit gonna jump off when they come back. When they come back, it's almost that time, no?
Yep,
For that rotation to get close.
it's
You think they
already.
still around? Because it's like you said, it's hundreds of thousands of years from the last time their planet was close enough for them to come.
Are they close around Planet X?
Yeah.
Supposedly it's coming, brother. Supposedly it's coming. We at the
How do you
end of
know it
that.
didn't come already?
That's
How
a
do you
good
know that's
point.
not? How do you know that wasn't the eclipse that we had a few months ago?
But
That everybody was looking.
if it came already, I would assume they would have made a visit. And if
They
they're the
did.
so
They
why
did make a
haven't they
visit.
made this they self known? I would have assumed they would have came on some big ball, big nut shit.
See, but see that's the crazy part about it. The world, as much information as we can put out there, people don't want that information out there. What did you think that was? What did you think that interstellar object that was floating around
Well,
for the last few months?
Amu Napa Papa or whatever the hell that was that flew
Third
by.
Eye Atlas.
Oh, that was the second one.
That was
Supposedly the
yeah.
other one was the Amnu Mapu Pupu or whatever the Hawaiian name of was. That it was like a long that they was like, yo, there's no way. There's no way that shit was flipping or some shit like that, and then it
It
righted
was
itself.
turning and stopping and turning in 90-degree angles. You're just a ship's not going to do that. Not the
Well,
ships that we see.
well,
It ain't gonna stop and turn.
well, what they're
A
saying
comet, I
is,
should say.
yeah, a comet ain't gonna do that exactly, or a free flowing asteroid of something ain't gonna do that shit.
But they weren't here to. They were here only to observe. They're not malicious. They contacted the people they needed to contact to let them know that they're not in danger. They're here to help, and they
I
had to
thought
do
they was
something to the
coming.
sun.
I thought they was coming for. Damn, they had to do something to the
They
sun.
had to do something to the sun to start the solar flare for the fucking people who need to wake up. To wake up here, it was for those 7% that need to achieve certain status that needed
Like,
that help.
listen, Mr. President, we just gonna stop by. We gonna milk your son a little bit, and we gonna keep it moving. We
And we're gonna
good.
keep it moving. That's it. And we're gonna tell you about it while we're in here with a bunch of draconian reptilians on here
And then they
and all
laugh.
type of Anunnaki.
We don't think you should do that. I don't care what you think. We're gonna do it anyway. How about that?
All I'm saying is that all this thunder and storming that people hear, yeah, there's a war going on that people can't see. A lot of people can't see, and there's a lot of shit that's been going on in Antarctica when it comes to fighting and shit too that people just don't know about.
Well, supposedly, isn't there like a galactic federation that be doing some crazy shit out there trying to protect Earth, allegedly?
Allegedly, yes, there is a Galactic Federation. There's two actually.
Star Trek, baby.
You have your one Galactic Federation where they're a combination of humans, extraterrestrials, and they work together. And then you have another kind of like galactic, it's not it's called the Galactic Federation, it's called something else. And those are just the ETs, like Valiant Thor back in the day from Venus, for example, that talked to Eisenhower.
Yeah,
Those,
well, he
those,
tried to
those,
save us. That
he
man
tried.
tried to save us. They
He
went with
tried. He
the other
gave us tech and
dudes.
all that shit.
They
Yep.
went with Reptilian Bob or whatever
They
his
went
name
with the
was.
Grays
Oh yeah, Reptilian Bob and his boys.
and got fooled because they thought the cloning technology was going to just clone everything, and that's not. They didn't
No, but
realize
what's
that.
funny is they didn't give a fuck about the cloning, even though that was a bonus. Them niggas wanted the weapons. Valiant and them,
They didn't get the weapons at first.
nah,
The
but
fir-
Valiant and them told them, "You're never getting no weapons from us. We'll give you all the technology in the world, everything you can dream of, cures for this, and that. Weapons is not our thing. We're not gonna give you that."
yeah, he
And
was
then
like
the
Tesla.
reptilians came like assholes as a motherfucker. We give you weapons. We give you whatever you want. Fuck it. We just want some bodies. And what you said? Nothing. Nothing. Just sign this paper, nigga. You know what
Yep.
I'm saying?
So that was actually so I don't know if you're familiar with the whole thing in the 50s. So the original very first thing meeting with them was Valiant Thor did come in, and Valiant Thor did have something set with them, and they did work with Valiant Thor for a little bit before he reneged on their deal. See, Valiant Thor just wanted to take a couple people, he wanted to study them, and he was going to give us just technology. For a little bit, they decided to agree with it, but then they decided to go when the reptilians came and they offered them a type of weapon, surveillance, also the iPhone,
Supposedly
and
that's how we won that we was in the middle of a war at that time. That's why he was like, yeah, give me the weapons. And that's
Yep.
when,
And
slightly after that, we started getting stealth bombers and all type of crazy shit popping out.
yeah, that's where we got the fuck exactly the fucking the Blackbird
Yeah,
that they use that the whatever it's called. That's where we got that stealth technology from then.
real
And
quiet.
cloning technology, because cloning technology was a part of it, but Eisenhower thought that you were going to be able to clone all types of different organs and shit. He didn't know that you had to actually make them and have them, be born. So he thought it
And
was going to be a
they doing
quicker.
that though. They doing that shit because they already got movies out talking about shit like that. So once you
Yeah, they've
see
been doing
movies
that for a
talking
long time.
about that, yeah, once you see movies, you already know there's a farm somewhere where they got like 8 of you. Why? Just in case you need a rib. If you become rich and you need a rib, yeah, we took his placenta from a baby and now we got like 7 of him. If he needs something, we got him. Only if he's rich
Hmm.
though. Only if he's
Like
rich
I know
though.
they still do that shit on but they do that shit too on the black market.
Why you think Magic Johnson is still chilling? Last time I seen that man, he was fat and healthy looking as a motherfucker. What happened to AIDS?
They
That
gave
man
him
had
it.
AIDS for like 50 years. For like 50 years. It was like, listen, man, come over here. We're gonna take the clone of you that we made back in 82 when you was the man. We're gonna give you his bone marrow. That shit gonna be gone in a week. You know what I'm saying? That shit gonna be gone in a week. Trust me, we tested it. You good.
Shit, that's fact. Fucking cracks and crackheads and meth heads don't last a fucking week on the streets.
Listen, big
50
fact.
years having that shit, not looking like nothing.
That's what I'm
Tranquilo.
saying. Chilling, chilling, smiles. That man, when they was interviewing him, and he was all smiles because they was talking about some Jordan shit. He was talking about how Jordan and when they was doing the off season, the USA shit,
Yeah.
that Jordan was like, "Yo, y'all niggas is done. I'm in town now." You know what I'm saying? The NBA got a new big dog now. And then he went out and dropped like 60 something the next game. They was like, all right, dogs, you got it. You know what I'm saying? You got it. You the man now. But all right, let's go back to this so we can wrap it up. Which mythology receives the most faithful adaptation in season one to you? Because we went through a couple of them. We got the Egyptian, we got the Slavic, we had the German, the Germanic. We had a bunch of different ones. Which one you think was the most accurately shown?
Um, hmm, I don't know. There, a lot of them were pretty accurate, but the most accurate, besides Odin, because I think Odin is the most.
Well, that's the Norse if you say he's the most.
But I see, but not a lot of the other ones are not depicted that. So you're talking about the entire pantheon, not just one person.
Well, wait, speaking of pantheons, where's the rest of these gods? Do you think other gods disappeared and that's why Odin is on this shit? Like, nah, I'm not going. I'm not disappearing.
That's pretty much it. He doesn't want to cease to exist, and that's why he wants to cause. And he wants to cause Ragnarok. Ragnarok. He's waiting for Ragnarok to happen. He's learning all the stuff for it to make sure it starts.
Because I'm almost feeling like the way he spoke to Stera or some, you make them pray, you make them beg you, make them worship you to bring it back.
Hmm.
It's almost like he was using her as the tester. So I can see if that shit work. Because if that shit work, I'm gonna bring a storm of hell for them motherfuckers to worship me to stop it. You know what I'm saying? Like, where
Yeah, I would have to say the Norsemen. I'll stick with the Norse mythology. It seems like they're doing the best adaptations thus far,
I,
especially for season one. Because a lot of hints, they show you a lot of hints for certain characters in the Norse. They mentioned Thor, the way he didn't want to be a part of it, they fight and left. And
which is
Odin's just
crazy. Which is
incredible, man. Like
crazy
his
though.
whole yeah.
Because isn't Thor like that's what he's known for, wanting to be in the fight, and they say, nah, he didn't want no part of this shit. He didn't want no part of this shit.
Yeah, that's why I think eventually he's gonna come back. I think they just like wrote him off. Maybe he won't, but he's destined to fight Norman Gander unless he changes it. The author changed it in the story.
Well,
But he's
maybe that's the point. Maybe he's like, you know what? I'm not dying for a world that don't worship me no more. Fuck it.
That could be it too. He said, "You're on your own."
Yep.
But I would watch out for Mr. World. Though. That's what I'll tell you. That's what you got to watch out for
All
because
right.
he's the one. And then again, now at this particular point, I don't even know if he's actually working on his own.
But there's more. There's a crew. There's a crew of them. That's why we only seen the tip of the crew with media and technology, boy. He got a little crew. Plus the soldiers he got. Them dudes got power in themselves. The men in black type dudes.
I don't know. I just see him and Loki. Him and Loki are gonna get together.
They're gonna
Let's
rock
leave it
out.
at that. I think so. I don't know if it's gonna turn that way or in some way, shape, or form later, but I think it's something going on between the two. They might know. I just like we talked about earlier. How would he not know who that is? You know what I mean? If this is the case, so I think he knows, and I think it's a setup.
Okay. I like that. I like that train of thought. I'm with it. So which mythology changes the most to fit this modern audience?
Ooh,
Like
that's a
which
look at
one they took some liberties on, so to speak, to make it look good for TV?
a Christ.
I would say the same thing. When they turned around and there was 50 Jesuses, I was like, oh, they went too far with this one. I was like, I can't believe this shit.
Yeah, that was a little excessive, but
Even
yeah,
though I get what they were saying, because like you said, in this world, they was trying to say the belief in general creates it. And I can see the Spanish people think their Jesus is Spanish. The Chinese people who are Christian believe that Jesus is Chinese. You know what I'm saying? The Hindus who are fucking are Christians believe that no, he's from Saudi Arabia. He's Hindu. You know what I'm saying? Like all
yeah,
that shit.
pretty much a story depicted on their culture to be that person, so they're gonna look a little different.
Exactly. So I can see that, but yet each of them is basically Jesus. They're all the same Jesus. I would have believed more if it was one Jesus, but depending on who looked at him is how he looked.
That would have been dope, but I don't know if the show could have. You know what? Now that I think about it, they probably could have did that, but then you ain't gonna be able to see. You would have to have a lot of individual people checking it out, as opposed to just having a group of people at one scene looking out. So I don't know.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Maybe it was a little
But that would have
easier
been
to do it that
fire.
way.
That would have
Now,
been
yeah,
fire though, because then at least to me that would have made more sense than 50 Jesuses playing volleyball together. You know what I'm saying? Like what the
yeah, I
fuck?
agree. I like that. I like that a lot. That would have been dope if they would have did that.
So
Whoever
yes,
looked.
I'm Jesus that you know, but depending on how you know me, you know what I'm saying, is how you see me. Kind of like
Yeah.
a glamour, you know what I'm saying?
Yep. That would have
Okay,
been
so
dope.
is American Gods ultimately about religion, storytelling, imagination, or all three?
All three.
That's a fact because they gave us some religion, and like you said, some of them was 90, 95%, and some of them veered off a little bit, but yet that was where the storytelling. They took a little bit of a religion and said, all right, this is interesting, but I could make it a little better. You know what I'm saying? I could make it a little better for my shit. Um, which old god has adapted best to modern America? I think I know what you're gonna say and why.
In the show, or in my opinion, in the real
Well,
life.
I would
Now,
say, well, in the show first, and then you can give me real life if you think of one of the ancient gods adapted well for today.
all right. So it's gonna be the trickster god Loki. I think is probably the best one. He's
Okay.
a trickster. He's a trickster. He shapeshifts. It's all pretty much the same all around in every folklore when it comes to the trickster gods and stuff like that. So I think he's probably the most adaptable one in the newer pantheons, like to be like modern, I would say, and especially like, well, I'm not going to talk about Marvel's version of it, but Loki is a Loki is a important person in Ragnarok, just like Thor and Fenrir, Tyr, Boulder,
Now, Tyr is the
Jormungandr.
dude in God of War that we carry in his head, right?
No, that's Mimir.
Mimir.
Tyr is the one where the in the latest God of War where you free him in the cell, and then if you do the Valhalla part of it, you get to fight him,
Oh, okay, okay. I
and
know.
that's the North mythology's God of War.
Okay.
His name's Tyr, and he was the one in the show that
Hence, giving him the title again, God of War.
right.
Is that something that now that you mentioned that, is that something that mythology mentioned? Could someone kill a god, so to speak, and become that god?
Yeah, it's happened before, and
Really?
people have killed gods or anointed new gods. Apollo did it with his son. It happened with Helios.
So who
So
does the pointing?
whoever wants to take it or give it. Like, okay, so for example, I want to say Helios took it from Apollo, and then Apollo gave it to his son. But then one of his sons crashed a chariot and brought the sun too low in the mythology and messed everything up. I don't know if you remember that.
Dee, dee, dee. Yeah, that's because he begged them and begged them and begged them for a test
Yeah,
drive. I
And
do
he
remember that shit.
and then he said, "Oh, you're my son. Okay, I'm gonna do it for you because I do anything for you," and regretted it ever since.
Yeah. And then his dumbass dee 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 son. What do you mean what I did? And then he turned around and pointed to all the fucked up destruction. You know what I'm saying? Look what you did, nigga. Look at all this. Nigga, for about 20 miles, you burnt the ground. After that, you went too high. For 30 miles it snowed when they needed crops. Look what you did. You know what I'm saying? What's wrong with you?
Yep, pretty much. So yeah, it's been done several times. So whether
So
it's a son doing it or a parent doing it or anything like that, yeah. But not but I want to make this clear. Not when it comes to Neil's universe. It's not the same thing. So like a god cannot steal or like take anything of his title or his entity in American Gods in the
could a
show.
god split their divinity with a human?
In the show, yes. In the show, like it's his adaptation is different. And some people have in the past have been born from another one or became twins because of it.
Okay. Well, for the last one, brother. If you could introduce one mythological figure from any culture into season two, who would it be and how would they fit into the show's central theme that belief creates power?
Who haven't we seen? Well, I don't want to get too crazy with it.
I'm gonna say one of them Sumerian gods you keep talking
That's
about.
what I was gonna say, like Enki or Enlil, but
I want
I
to see
didn't want to
that
go
man
that far.
come in, one of those dudes come in, and I want to see them come in cocky as hell. Y'all dumb motherfuckers, man. We created all y'all. You know what I'm saying? Y'all come from us, man. Y'all some dumb motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Y'all talk about fighting and come back. Y'all, if anything, I should come back and stop all this dumb shit y'all doing.
Yeah, pretty much, man. I would like to see one of those guys in there come down from the original. Honestly, I would like to see Enlil first. I want to
Oh,
see him come down because that he was a real maricon. You know what I mean?
damn. Or
Yeah, he
or
was Zeus. He was the Zeus depiction. Like you'd see him
or
in Odin. Yeah,
or I'll
that type.
take like a set since they did a little bit of the Egyptian. They gave us like Thoth. Thoth seemed like the calm one. They gave us Anubis. Anubis was just there doing his job. You know what I'm saying? I want to see somebody that's like an asshole guy. Chernabog was a little bit of an asshole, but in the long run, as you've seen, he wasn't an asshole. He was good people's. He just was fucked up. His brother died. His only person died, or dissipated, or whatever way he explained it. So he was just like, "Fuck it, I'm next." You see, he didn't give a fuck no more. He was all sloppy with it. You know what I'm saying? He didn't give a fuck no more. And they said the chick said it. Nah, back in the days, you should have seen him. He was the shit. You know what I'm saying? Now he's what we got
Yes.
there. You know what I'm saying? Is what we got there.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like something a little closer in the mythologies, but I mean, Horus was in there, so they showed Horus. Anubis, they showed
Oh, you know what else I would take? The Fates
the fates.
or some version of that. Like, was there a fate version in the Norse or something that they pop up and even the gods are like, oh shit. And I'm talking about both sides since there's like a war, and you know what I'm saying? Both sides look and they're like, oh shit, that's above
Yeah,
all.
that would be
You
kind
know
of
what
cool
I'm
to see a
saying?
depiction of both. I don't know if they'll do that,
That's above all of us. Fuck.
but they're I think it's the Weavers of Destiny are what the Sisters of Fates are called in Norse mythology.
So then that shit, the Weavers. Imagine that shit. The fucking Weavers come out.
The Weavers, pretty much, yeah, they're pretty much they're depicted the same. They're ancient women. They're quiet for the most part, but their ultimate goal is to pretty much they gotta cause independent petty wars for the of the gods. That's what they're pretty much doing in Norse mythology. So the keepers of the world tree are three
Yggdrasil.
giants. Huh?
Yggdrasil, right? Something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Yggdrasil. That's the world tree. So there's three of them that actually live at the base of the world tree. And then there's three that represent the aspects of time, which is, past, present, and future. And then you have the weavers of doom. I think they're more like like spider kind of like things of carving and weaving and spinning. And I think they can spin every living being, including the gods, even Odin. And
Mhm.
then I think that's it. I don't think there's any. Is there? I want to say there's like a Cosmo kind of thing, but that's more of the roots of the tree to prevent the tree from rotting. But I think that's it when it comes to the sisters.
Now that's the same tree they hung your man Shadow off of, right?
Yeah.
Which is crazy. So they hung him off the world tree. That's crazy.
And there's a reason why. Well, in the beginning, when you see old girl come back and nobody knows who helped them during that thing, you notice how she sees, and when she looks up, she sees the bright light.
Yes, what you mentioned is like the sun or another
Yeah.
sun.
So I was trying
And,
to show
and
you.
he was deep. Remember one scene she looked to the right and the guy was like, dead wife, what are you looking at?
He was
Shadow.
out. Well,
Shadow. But when you looked, what she was looking at, you saw the glow, but the glow was deep. But she knew where his ass was at. You know what I'm saying? He's over there about 62 miles left. You know what I'm saying? He right there. But
which I think is pretty cool.
we have came to a conclusion on season one, Manito. So what's up next week or the week after? If anything, we rock up season two.
Yes, sir. We can do it next week if you want. We can do it the following. I'm
All right,
available for both.
all right. We work it out. We make it happen. What you got? You got anything else coming out? Any videos about to drop or anything?
Not right now, anytime soon.
All right. Well, we got Saturday. We're gonna do that stream talking about the
Doomsday.
Doomsday,
Yeah, we'll do
and
the Doomsday trailers.
then Tuesday we got the next episode of the Midnight Lore. How you going with that book?
I'm almost done.
Nice. You like it?
Oh yeah,
All right. Cool. Cool. Cool.
I like
So
all that type of stuff. So it's very intriguing to me.
yeah, that's a fact. That book was actually really, really good. I enjoyed it a lot. Um, but all right. So I guess we're gonna wrap this one up for this week. Thanks everybody who dropped by, stopped by and say what's up and dropped us some love. Hopefully you join the collective and rock the family. Like, share, and subscribe.
Welcome to Legends Behind the Lines! Roll the cameras, cue the scene. Nothing's ever what it seems. Every monster, every myth, there's a deeper truth beneath. Hollywood has told the tale, but did they really never fail? We're pulling back the silver screen to find out what it really means. Hit rewind, roll it back. It's time to separate the fact from fiction. Behind the lens, we're breaking down the greatest legends. Behind the lens, where every mystery gets questioned. Movie magic, ancient stories, truth and fiction, fame and glory. Join the adventure, take a chance. Welcome to Legends Behind the Lens. Legends Behind the Lens. Digging through the myths each day. Jaxson Reigns joins the ride. Searching for the truth inside. Searching for the truth inside. From forgotten folklore's past to movie monsters built to last. Ghosts and dragons, gods and kings. So what's the truth behind these things? Grab some popcorn, turn it loud. We're diving deeper, starting now. Behind the lens, where movie myths come back to life. Behind the lens, we're cutting through the hype tonight. Every legend, every scene, not everything is what it seems. Come along, take a chance. Welcome to Legends Behind the Lens. Who got it right? Who got it wrong? We've been waiting all along. Ancient myths, Hollywood dreams. Nothing's ever what